Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a good wherever you are. My name is JP, and this is Websites for Beginners, and this is Module 1 Foundations for WordPress 2025. I'm going to show you in these modules how you can become a WordPress master from knowing absolutely nothing about creating websites or WordPress to creating great looking shops, blogs like this one that I'm showing you here. Yes, we're going to be able to achieve all of that. And with that, we're going to take it a little bit slower at times because this is a total beginner's course and because this channel is focused on education. Also, I have my video on for this intro, but I'm not going to have it on for the rest of this video. Why? Because it takes so much more editing afterwards and I'm super lazy. That's why I always try to get shortcuts even while I am creating websites. This course is going to approach learning WordPress in a completely different way than I've done before and to almost everything you're going to find online. And it's based now on decades of trying to figure out how WordPress works. Most of the courses you find online is going to give you a very quick solution, but you're constantly going to be frustrated when you do it yourself with things not working the way you saw it on the video and the tutorial. And the reason is because there's a few things of WordPress you don't get. You probably don't know what is a permalink. You don't understand why my homepage is displaying all my blog posts and small things like that, that if you don't really get behind the concept and why WordPress works like that, makes it really difficult further on down the line, especially when you import a demo site or you work with pre-made templates and you try and change a few things and everything goes wrong. I'm not going to talk more about that. This course, as I said, is for total beginners. If you have some background and you just want to learn again, you are more than welcome. Remember, this is education. I really want you to learn how to use WordPress. This could be because you want to just create a WordPress site for yourself, or you are interested in exploring becoming someone who designs websites for your friends, businesses, and make some money out of it. And yes, you can. In every town, there are opportunities to design and create websites for small businesses. The market is becoming pretty packed at the moment, but you will get there. What are you going to need for this course? Well, the internet. You're not going to have to spend any money. I'm going to show you all the free tools and take you there to that fully e-commerce shop and a great travel blog and the website of your choice, all with free tools. And then you can follow the channel for all the pro tools that takes you beyond and makes you absolutely extraordinary when you want to create websites. Yes, it can be you. Yes, it can be done. So let's get cracking and begin immediately creating this website in our WordPress Module 1 Foundations. Let's get right into it. And the first thing we need to do is get a place where we can install WordPress and practice for free. This technical part gets you off guard very much at the beginning when you try to begin working with WordPress, in that you actually need something called a host where they keep a server and they store your website, etc. But we're going to skip that. We're not going to look at that in this module. We are just going to practice for free, so you don't need to worry about the technical aspects. And I'm going to show you now how you can practice WordPress totally for free with me. And then later on, we can talk a little bit about hosting, and I'll give you a little bit of advice once you decide that you want to create your own website and you need to start paying something for the hosting. There is a few things that you need to look out for. We are going to use a company that gives you the opportunity to practice WordPress online for free. You can use any browser for that. I have here a number of browsers, but I stick to Chrome because I've been doing that for the last decade, 2+. So we're going to go to Chrome. And we are looking for a website, a company with the name called TasteWP. Once you get to TasteWP, what you do is you sign up. It's very easy, nothing special to that. And then from there, you go to your dashboard. When you get inside the dashboard, yours will look empty, but you can see I have a number of websites. Each of these is a website that I've created and that I've worked on. TasteWP let you practice for free, but after 7 days, it will delete the website. You have the option to go to a website and select here, make it not expire. And for a free account, you get one option to do that. And if you get more people that you refer, you can have more. So you can see I have here 3 websites that is set to never. I can delete them later on if I don't use them anymore. But these are just practice websites. We often refer to this as staging, where we set up the stage for the real website. We create our website for this tutorial. We go to create new, and you can just click on create temporary site. But there are a few things that TasteWP is going to install by default, which we don't want because we really want to work with WordPress in a vanilla state. So go to this area that says choose pre-installed plugins and themes and just uncheck all of these on the left. Then go to custom site name and give yours a name, and I'll call this WP Foundations 25. And this is just so that I can identify from all these other websites that I've created here. And now select create temporary site. TasteWP is now going to create a website for you and WordPress already installed. So it's not happening here. You actually still need to go and access WordPress. You will see here that you get a URL, a link. This is the website that has been created for you. And to log in, it gives you your username as well as the password. But the great thing about TasteWP is that they allow you just to click on access it now. And once you click on this, it's going to open another tab in your browser. And it's going to open up WordPress. And this is how WordPress looks. We'll talk about that a little bit soon. But first of all, because TasteWP gives this to you for free to practice, they do a little bit of promo as well. So you can see here, they say your site was set up successfully. And then they tell you, hey, dude, your site is going to expire in 6 days. You can share this, and the more you share, for every 3 people, you can get 1 site that you can set to never. You saw the never I have. Or you can go premium, and now you go over to full-time hosting again, and you can actually make sure it doesn't expire, but you pay for it. We are just practicing. And not to see this again in WordPress, you select here, okay, got it, and it's gone. So I should say, welcome to the world of WordPress. And the first time you access WordPress, it is overwhelming, daunting, scary, bewildering. Most of what you see in WordPress, you are not going to use. You will have to get used to putting on your blinders for those things that you're never going to touch on, and don't get sidetracked by them. Many people want to do that. A lot of tutorials online, I often see how they deep dive into all these features. Don't waste your time on that. The first thing I want you to get your head around is the area where you are going to be working, where you are going to be creating, and the area where you can see the website. When you log into WordPress, this is what you're going to get. And we refer to this as the back end. This is where you do all your work, where you do your editing and where you set up it. Think of it as PowerPoint, where you build out your slides. But then you have the second option, and that is to view how your site will look to a visitor when they come and visit your site. And that is called the front end. Think of making a real presentation and showing that to people on a screen or on a wall with a projector. In WordPress, you go to the top left and you will see here is the name that I've created. It says WP Foundations 25. And then from the drop-down, it gives me the option to visit site. Select. And this takes you to the front end, the area where you can see how your website will look. Now, currently, this is our website. Yep, that's our website. We're still going to build it up. Up here is our name. This is your home link. If you click on this, it will take you back to your home page. Then here is another sample page. Then here is a title. Here is a post, right? A blog post. Over here is some get in touch little thing. And at the bottom, we have this that is part of the footer area. We'll talk all about this in the core module. Once you're on the front end and you see how the website looks, you may want to go back into the back end of WordPress. And that means you want to flip back to the area we were just now. To do that, you go to the top again. Now, this black bar at the top is called the WordPress toolbar. I'll be using this word so many times that you won't even later think about it when I talk about the toolbar. But the toolbar is this area at the top. Go again to the name WP Foundations 25, hover over it, and you will see we have dashboard, plugins, and themes. We want to go to the dashboard. And now we are back in the back end. And this is how you flip between the back where you are working and the front end where you want to view how your website actually looks. I did this for years and then I found out there's actually a much quicker way to do it. You go to the name. You don't have to go down to visit site. You just click on the name. And once you click on the name, it takes you to the front. Click on it again, takes you to the back. Very simple. Clickety-click, clickety-click, clickety-click. In reality, when we are working with a website, we actually keep one tab open for the front end because we're building in the back and then we want to just quickly look on the front how it will look, but we don't want to just, skip back and forth the whole time. And what we do is we open a second tab just for the front end so we can see the view. And there are 3 ways your browser allows you to do that. I'm going to show you now how to do that. The first one is you go to the name, right-click, and select on Open Link in New Tab. And now that link will open in a new tab, and this is your front end. The second way you can do this is to hold Control-Command on your keyboard. Quick word here, I'm going to always say this, Control-Command. When you are on a Windows PC, we say Control. When you are on a Mac, we say Command. So what I'm going to do every time is just say Control-Command. Doesn't mean there are 2 keys, it just means there's 1 key. If you're on Windows, you hold Control, and on Mac, you hold Command. Right, so let's get back here, go to the name, hold Control-Command on your keyboard, and click. And this will again open a tab, and it will create that link within the tab. And the third way is to go to any link on a page, click and hold. Click, hold, and drag, and drop it there in the top. The reason I show you these 3 is because I just think they are cool and many people don't know it. This is a way you can open a link and keep the front end open, and then simply, if I Control-click again, you can just jump between these 2 tabs. Close this for now. So what do we actually have here in the back end? I showed you the toolbar at the top, and the toolbar will always indicate to you that you are working within WordPress. Even when you go to the front end, like we did earlier, if I click and go to the front end, the toolbar will appear there. It will show you the website. But because you can see the toolbar, you will know that you are signed in, you're actually working within WordPress. Let's go to the back end. And in the top right corner, you will see your name appears there as well as the option to log out. Once you log out, you will have to go back to Test WP and use these details to log back in again. Or in Test WP, that website you've just created, this one, the WP Foundations 25, you just go to Actions and select Go and log into site, and it will do it automatically for you. You don't have to remember the password or your username. On the left, you have the navigation sidebar. Navigation is always taking you someplace else. And currently, this sidebar is pretty empty. This can get very, very crowded here as we bring in more. In the next module, you will see how we're going to build this out. A lot of the stuff here we'll be using, a lot of the stuff we won't be using. And those things, like I mentioned earlier, that we don't use, don't worry about it. They are archaic. If you go to any new kind of website builder, Squarespace, Wix, all of these great guys, you will find that it's very limited in what you need in terms of settings. This is just stuff that has remained from the beginning of WordPress, and that if you take it away, there are people that are going to be super, super unhappy. So we leave it there so that the internet trolls don't come for us, and you learn how to ignore them, and I'm going to show you on the ones you are going to focus. If you click on any of them, let's go to something like settings. You will see that the area on the right updates with what you have selected, and in many cases, you're going to see a drop down as well. At the very top in the left is kind of a WordPress homepage, and this is where it will tell you about the WordPress version you currently have installed and a little bit of other information. This is not very important. What we usually care about is this one called the dashboard, and we'll talk again about that later. When you log in to WordPress, every time it will provide you with the dashboard. So this is kind of the default. Now, one thing, Taste WP, remember them? They are the people who are allowing us to test this for free and play around and learn. One thing they do is that when they install WordPress, they make a change to it, which doesn't give you the default installation. And that change is actually the color theme, the scheme, how this back end looks. You see, we have this dark black, we have this blue for dashboard, and when I hover over any of these submenus, they are shocking neon green. This is not the default way that WordPress looks. So I just want us to change this so that we can be on the same page as everyone else when you do install WordPress from the very beginning. And to do that, you go to this label here for users, and you go to the profile, and this will give you your profile. Select it and go down to admin color scheme. And you see here, it's set to modern. But on the left, the first one is default, and that's actually where it should be. Taste WP says they love modern, so they choose modern as their default setting. We're going to go back to default. And as I click on any of these, you can actually see how the theme updates. And it could be that you look at one of them and say, I actually prefer one of these. Instead, I want to work with that. I often like this one, Midnight. But we're going to stick to default because choosing how your theme looks in the background really means nothing. It's about how your website looks on the front end. Important. Once you select anything here, often overlooked is the fact that you need to save your setting. Scroll down all the way to the bottom and then select Update Profile. Often overlooked is the fact that you need to save these settings. And if you just want WordPress to look again the way it looked at the very beginning, click on Dashboard, and this is the familiar greeting screen that you will get every time that you log into WordPress. Quickly talk about what WordPress is so you can understand what I'm going to do next. Go to the navigation sidebar on the left, and you see it says Posts, and click on this. Way back. When WordPress first started, it was created for bloggers. And that's also why it became super famous, because it was a free tool. It was a framework in which people could create a website for blogging. And that was the main focus. People who used WordPress at the beginning only used it for blogging. And that has stayed with WordPress over the years. So when you watch many tutorials online, if you've never worked with WordPress, you'll be a little bit confused as to what's going on here. Why is there this strange way that the blogging part of WordPress keeps popping up as a default setting? And that is WordPress honoring their heritage. And that's what I call it. What happened though is that people realized, but I can also make normal pages, web pages. I can make a home page, I can make an about page and a service page. All of that I can make with WordPress. Intended to be a blogging tool, it became a web page building tool. But, and this is why I'm saying the big but, at its core, WordPress still excels at blogging. And that's why we are going to start with the blogging section, because when you get this, it's so much easier to work with a page. And I usually would keep the blogging part all the way to the very end of tutorials that I did. And then I realized that if you can understand the blogging part very quickly on in its foundations, and that's why I call this foundations, what happens later on is easy peasy. Now, posts. This is what we've selected. That is where you do all your blogging. That's where you write articles. And that's how you put them together in a display that everyone can get your news, your articles. And you create them here within this posts area. Here you will see there's already one created called Hello World. Every time since the beginning of WordPress, when you install WordPress from the beginning, WordPress gives you one post for free. One that they've created, and it's called Hello World. Let's go to the front end. Remember how to do that? Click up here, and you will see that here it says Hello World. So by default, it creates it and it puts it on your front page. Click on this Hello World and it takes you into the post. When you get to an area where there is a post, we refer to this as a single post. A single post is one article, one blog article, one news article, a single post. It's a word or a term that you have to remember, single post. And you can see it says, welcome to WordPress. This is your first post. Edit or delete it, then start writing. It's not really my first post, right? It's WordPress's first post. Go back into the backend and select posts again. And now let's create our very first post. What I'm going to create is a website for mental health. I want to create a site where people can go and read about things that can help them with things like sleeping, their cognitive abilities. I'm creating this for a client, but we are just practicing. And one of the tools I'm going to bring in here is AI. Not AI within WordPress. I'm going to use one of the many AI tools that you can find online. They have really sped up my process exponentially since the AI came out 2+ years ago. And if you're still not using it, consider it. It will make your websites, the content you are writing, so much better. And I'll show you these things. I'm not going to tell you just bring in a picture or write this. I'm going to show you how I do it and help you get your mind in the right frame from the very beginning so you can understand how this works. The second reason I'm going to show you about AI is that they can create an entire post, an entire article for you in a format where you can copy that entire thing, paste it in WordPress, and it's going to give you headings, bullets, the works. It's going to look great from the beginning. All of that coming. And when I discovered that, I got very excited about it. But let's stick to the very beginning. And that is we have to create a new post. But, Janice, before we get to that, I'm going to first create my article by writing it. And I'm not going to create it myself. I'm going to let the AI do that. What I'm going to use is Meta. Now, if you don't know who Meta is the AI, chat AI provided to us by Facebook. So if you have a Facebook account, you'll be able to use it. And it asks me to log in. That's interesting. So I'll quickly log in there. And here is my stuff. What I will do, and let me just go and take away Grammarly because this is going to annoy me the whole time. Let me show you what we're going to do. How you can work with creating a new blog is that you can go to an AI and says, I want to create a website blog on mental health. Various topics. You don't have to always give full sentences. Can you give me a few ideas for topics? And that's it. And what it's going to do now, around 5, I guess, usually, it gives you their anxiety disorder. Okay, it's giving me a lot. And you are telling me, JP, I know about AI, probably I've used it, but I want to show you how I work within one thread. And how smart the AI is, knowing that you are working with one website and later on can create many articles. Then here we go to anxiety symptoms. So it says common health, mental conditions, anxiety disorder symptoms. And the next question I will say, let's write a 500-word article for a blog post in WordPress. I'll tell it this. It understands this. On the topic you've suggested on anxiety and focus only on the symptoms. Keep it casual and use headings for layout. That's it. So I can tell it how many words to use. You can go 1,000, 500, 2,000. Trust me, actually 500 words are very, very short. And my advice here is to tell it the style. Do you want it professional? Do you want it concise? Do you want it in essay form? How do you want it? You're not always going to get exactly what you want. And because of that, play around with different AIs, Perplexity, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, all of this. And here we get, it's writing that article for me. It's giving me title at the top. Starts with understanding anxiety. Then it gives me a little paragraph, etc., etc. And I'm showing you this because this is the process that I use if I'm creating a demo website like this. I don't have to go and create all of this content by myself, but it looks super real. And I'm also giving you a tip. You can start creating weird websites by just using AI. But what I did, and this is when I was preparing for this, I did it with sleep. So I asked it, I want to create something on sleep. Give me a few ideas. It gave me the science of dreams, unlocking the mysteries. And I said, please write an engaging 500-word article on your first topic, suggesting the science of dreams. What I'm going to do now is I will select all of this article that I have here, and I'm going to copy it, and I'll open Word. You can do this in Google Docs as well. And I'll paste it, and you can see this is how it's going to look. And then I'll remove all the formatting, just to take that out. But later on, we'll talk about the formatting, and we'll come back to this. So the most important thing is that my new article is called The Science of Dreams. The Science of Dreams, Unlocking the Mysteries. And now we go back to WordPress. So within WordPress, we are at our posts, and finally, we can create our post. Click on Add New Post. It's going to open a post editor, or we call it a block editor, and it gives you this little welcome screen that is absolutely useless. It talks about welcome to the block editor, make each block your own. And while it talks about this, you're probably thinking, what the hey is a block? So let's get started. Click on that. Again, another intimidating page with many things here that you are not sure what they mean. The first thing we're going to do is create our post by giving it a title. And that's there. You see the flashing cursor. It says add title, and you type your title there. What I did is I copied that title, and I'm going to just paste the title, and it says The Science of Dreams, Unlocking the Mysteries. And this is how we start. In its state at this moment, we say that this post is in a draft. I'm just working on it. It's not accessible on the internet. You cannot view it on the front end technically. It's just a draft. If I want to make it live so that people can see it, I need to publish it. And you will see the blue button here in the top right-hand corner, publish, and that's what we're going to do. Let's go and publish this post, select it, and then, wait, what? Another publish? So WordPress gives you this, they call it a pre-publish check, like a pre-flight check. Many people have made this mistake. They are working on a draft. They want to schedule it to appear later, some reveal. And then by mistake, they publish it, and everybody knows what's going on, and the surprise is revealed, and then they have to unpublish it, etc., etc. So what WordPress has done is they put in the second pre-publish check. We'll leave it on, so you have to click a second time publish, and that's just to make sure you didn't jump the gun. And now that you have done and published it, it gives you the option to view the post. So let's click here on View Post so you can see how the post will look on the front end. And we are not at all impressed because it's just the title. There's no content, but you can see we still have this frame layout. To go back to the post that we've just created, go to the toolbar at the top, and you will see there's the option now to select Edit Post, select, and we are back in the editor. You can also exit back to the WordPress dashboard by going to the top left and click here on View Posts. And now you will see under your post section, here the post that we've just created, The Science of Dreams, appear here next or above Hello World. To edit it again, you just click on the title or you click on Edit, simply click on it, and it takes you back into this area where we can edit the post. A word that you will hear a lot about the editor is called Gutenberg. A few years ago, this editor looked totally different, and then WordPress changed it. And when they were working on the beta version of that change, they called that version Gutenberg, and the name has stuck. So even though it's technically just the WordPress editor where you edit the post and bring in the content, you will often hear people still refer to it as the Gutenberg editor. That sounds like something you don't need to remember, right? But trust me, you're going to find that people even market additional apps that you can use for this as Gutenberg apps. So it's important that you remember this name, Gutenberg. When you see this editor, It's the WordPress editor, also known as the Gutenberg editor. Once you have published your post, you can again view it on the front end. In the toolbar, go to this little icon here that shows you something can pop out. It says View Post. And when you click on it, it's going to open the front end for you in a new tab. And every time you click on it, it will open a new tab for you. And this way you can again work between the back and the front end. Good and well. We need to start working on our content. We want to actually type something there. And there is a clue on the screen. Type or / to choose a block. Let's just type something there. Take your cursor, click on type, and I'll say from JP with love. And I've just created my first post. Click on save, and shortcut for that is Control S, Command S. I hardly click on save. I use shortcuts all the time. And once you've done that, click on the view post icon again, and you can see how quickly we are creating this post. But we want to bring in our content. So go back. And I'll go to the Word document where I've created this article on the science of dreams, and I'll copy this first paragraph. Let's copy that and go back. Select this area in which we just typed from JP with love and select all the text, and let's delete it. And now we have that type again. Now paste the new text, and how you paste is Control V, Command V, or right click and select paste. And it inserts that text for you. And now you begin to understand, aha, that's how we are going to build out the content. And if you want to check it again on the front end, I know, especially at the beginning, you're going to do it all the time because you're so excited. I just created magic. Control S, Command S to save. And then you can go to the front end and let's just refresh this page. And there is my text. And slowly but surely you build out your post. Go to the back end and I want you to do the following. Go to the paragraph we've just pasted and put your cursor in front of this sentence, let's dive into the science, or whatever you have, and press enter on your keyboard, return on your keyboard. And you will see now it creates a second paragraph. And you will tell me, well, so what? But here is the interesting thing. Let me show you. Click on the first paragraph. You will see this toolbar appears here, and as I hover all the way to the left, there is a blue bounding box around the text. And go to the paragraph marker, and you will see the blue bounding box is only around that second paragraph. Every time you have this feature where you have a toolbar at the top, and it surrounds with a blue border content on your page, this is referred to as a block, B-L-O-C-K. And this is the building blocks of the editor. That's how you build out your page. Every paragraph will be in a different block. So again, here you can see it's in a different block. That is also why this is often called the block editor. We've selected this block here, and what I want to do is take this sentence and move it in front of this paragraph. And you can do that within the toolbar. You go to the second icon from the left, and it says drag. Click and hold with your mouse, and then drag it up. And as you drag it, you will see that thick blue line appears. And this blue line is an indicator of where you can drop this block. I'll take it to the top because that's where I want to move it. If I just leave it there, nothing happens. So I'll take it to the top and I'll drop it. And you can see now I've moved that block, that paragraph block, to the top. And I know it's a paragraph because there's a paragraph symbol here. And if I hover over it, it says paragraph. I can move it with these arrows as well, and often that is the most convenient way, by clicking whether I want it to go down or up. And you can play around with that. You can see, doesn't matter which block you select, you can move it up or down. Very important way in which you can move these blocks around on the page. Deleting blocks are also very important. Click on the block you want to delete, go to the three dots on the right, select it, and at the bottom you will find delete. And you see I have an option here, Shift-Alt-Z. You will have a different one on a Mac. I always forgot this keyboard shortcut, and I'm not even sure if it works. Let's Let's click on delete. And let's click on this one, Shift Alt Z, and it also deleted it. So it does work, and that's how you delete blocks. Let's paste that text again. I'll just grab it again. Not sure if I still have it in copy, and then click there and paste it and keep it as one paragraph because that's how I want to keep it, as one block. Now you've actually made one block, and there are different kinds of blocks. They have different kinds of purposes, and the one that you use for paragraph text is called the paragraph block, and this is the one that is there by default. Where can I find these other blocks? Let's head on over on our journey to the block library, and you go to the top where it's this little blue icon, and it says Toggle Block Inserter. Wow, big words there. Click on it, and it opens this sidebar with all the blocks. You see it says blocks, patterns, and media. We focus on blocks. Now have a quick look what you see here on the left. You see blocks that are related to text. You see blocks that are related to media, like images and video. Then you see design, or what I refer to as layout blocks. And then there are widgets, there are themes, and other loads of blocks that you can use to build out your website. The block I'm looking for is to create a heading. If you remember, I'll just go to Meta. This is the text that I have. It says the Science of Dreams. Then I have a paragraph, and then I have my first heading for the next paragraph that I want to create. To do that, we use a heading element or a heading block. I often prefer the word element, but Gutenberg and WordPress likes this word block. Under text, you can see there is heading. As I hover over it, look what happens on the page. There is that thick blue line that appears. And that indicates to me that if I click on this block, it's going to drop it into that spot where that blue line appears. So select and just click on it, and it drops, and it gives you this placeholder that just says heading. I'll go to my Word document, and I'll copy this. No need for us to go and type it all over, right? And then I'll go here, but you can check if you just type, there it goes, right? I'll delete all of that and paste. And there is the stages of sleep where dreams happen. And this is my heading. From the toolbar all the way to the left, you can see the icon has changed. And as I hover over it, it tells me now that this is a heading block. It's not a paragraph, but it's a heading block. Go to the right and select delete. We're going to do this one more time. There's a second way how you bring in blocks, and that is that you go to this block panel and you click and hold the block that you want to bring in, like I'm doing, and then you drag it onto the page. And again, you will see that you have this thick blue line that appears, and this indicates where you can drop this block. So again, I just drop it there, and that is another way of how you can bring it in. Let's paste our text again, stages of sleep, where dreams happen. Let's bring in the other bit of text that we have here. This one here, it's another paragraph. Do you remember? And we say copy, go back to WordPress. And the moment you click below the last block that you used, you're going to see this familiar option appear here again. And by default, it's always going to be a paragraph block. If you want a different block, you will have to bring it in. But if you are just working with normal text, it's always by default a text block. And because I clicked here, all I need to do is paste my text, and now I have that second bit of text here. And slowly our website is taking shape. Save, top right hand corner save, or Control S, Command S, and I'll select the front end and just refresh, and our page is starting to look much better. Next, we're going to talk about something a little bit technical, but I think once we get this out of the way, you will create better pages from the get-go. And that is something referred to as HTML tags. Don't worry, just remember that there is this concept of tags and that you have to assign a name to it. Oh, okay, hold on tight. This is what we're going to do. Go back to your article or my article, and you will see that I have a few more things going on here. But if I go back to Meta, I just want to show you. I have this title here and this title, and then I have these bullet points, which I want to put into sub headings. So I have this as a heading and then the next one. So let's build it out so I can show you instead of just talking. Bring in another heading here. So I can click here below and it gives me the paragraph by default, but I want a heading. So I'll go to the heading on the left and I'll just click on it. Go to Word and I'll choose my second heading, the brain regions involved, Control-C, Command-C, and I paste. And then I click below it and I get my paragraph option again. I go to Word and I grab this one, paragraph, and I paste it. And let's go back. And now we have theories on why we dream. I want to show you something different. Instead of bringing in blocks all the time, what's going to happen is that you're going to work with a block like this heading and that you're going to style it out and that you feel I want to just use the same format again and again and again. And you can do that by duplicating this block. Click on the options all the way to the right and select duplicate or the shortcut. And now you have two of these and you use the drag or the arrows to take it down to the next area where you want to have this heading. I'll go to Word and I'll grab my next heading. I'll copy that, theories on why we dream, and I paste it. And you can do the same with the paragraph. But because paragraph, you just click at the bottom. That one is very easy. Let's grab the next paragraph. So why do we dream? Copy that and paste it here. Now comes the part where we're talking about the HTML tags, and that's why I took this long intro to get here. Let's look again at the layout from Meta. I have these bullets, but I want to use these as subheadings. My main heading is theories on why we dream. My subheading is memory consolidation theory. And there is a specific way how we do this within WordPress. Let's grab the text first. This memory consolidation theory, just copy that. Go into WordPress and we create another heading. I'll just click and it drops there and I'll paste it. But currently this doesn't look like a subheading. It's supposed to look different than the theories because it's a subheading of the theories. This is the HTML tag. When you click on theories, in the toolbar, you will see this area called H2, and it says change level as a tooltip. Click on it, and then note that there are 6 options, H1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this is a way you structure your text, your headings, not the paragraphs, only the headings. And it is a very important way to help search engines like Bing and Google to understand how your page is structured. What is the main topic? What are the subtopics? And what are the subtopics? Now that we've created this heading, you see by default all of these headings, and as you click on them, are put on H2. Why are they not H1? And that is because the title of your page is H1. So you don't need another H1 on your page. If you want to, you can bring in the title of your page again and call it H1, but you don't have to do that. The H1 is already there. So the moment you bring in these section headings like we have here, we put them on H2 because H1 is at the very top, the title of your page, and H2 falls under that. And that means anything that falls under H2 is H3. And now all I do is I go to H3 and look, it changes. Now I can see, this falls under that one. My design looks better and it makes complete sense that this is an H3 or it is a subheading to the previous heading. This stuff is often overlooked in tutorials, but if you do this right, you get good ratings when people are looking for your posts and your websites in Google and Bing or whatever search engine they may be using. But it's important that you do this process. Now that I've created this H3 heading, and you also have to get used to me saying things like H2, H3, I'll go back and I'll copy the rest of this text. And this text is only going to be normal paragraph text. So I'll just click here and I'll paste that. When you are pasting text into WordPress, you don't have to do what I'm doing one by one by one by one. You can actually bring in everything and then just switch them out quickly by changing what kind of block they are. Let me show you, and then we do. Oh, well, that's the same thing. Now, this is the rest that we have here that I haven't brought in yet. From problem solving, which is H3, it's a subheading, and then we have 2 more sections here, unlocking the secrets of dreams and conclusion. Instead of copying each one and creating a block every time for them, I'm going to copy them all. We hop back into WordPress, and I'll just click here, and I'll paste them. And now you have to hold on tight. As expected, everything comes in as a paragraph. But the great thing that WordPress understands is a enter or return. So everywhere I have a paragraph break on my page, where you see that, it's also going to create a paragraph break, which is a new block within WordPress. So we go here, and we had this problem-solving theory, and this is a subheading. So I'll just delete that colon and press enter. Now select problem-solving theory. Go to the top in the toolbar all the way to the left where you see paragraph and click on it. And now WordPress is going to give you the option to transform this to something they think is possible. You can take this paragraph, either make it a heading, make it a list or a quote, and then they have a few others which they are not so sure about. So this is contextual. It is smart. It looks at the paragraph and says, Johnny, you probably want to make this a heading, right? Select heading and see it switches to heading. But this is not a H2, so remember, you have to put it on H3. Whoa, that was quick, right? Let's do the same for this one. I'll delete the colon and I'll put an enter. And I'll go here, switch, click on paragraph, convert it to a heading, and make it an H3. And we have one more. We skip that because that is a paragraph. We delete those, enter, click on it, click on the paragraph, transform, convert, and make it an H3. And these two are even simpler. Select and transform to heading. And the same for this. And they are H2, so we don't need to do anything. Heading and H2. Much easier than copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste the whole time. And we've created this in really short time. Thank you, AI, for doing most of the work. Let's have a look at how this is going to look on the front end. Control S, Command S. Go to the front end, refresh the page. And we have this entire article that we have created with AI. And if you have your own knowledge, you bring in your own knowledge, especially if you are doing something like a travel blog and you can write your blogs, you can use your headings and keep to this structure. Don't try and do fancy things. You keep doing main heading here at the top, which is the H1, the page title, the post title, which you don't have to write. And then for your section headings, H2, you saw that. And if you have anything below that, you use H3 headings. Ooh. Hop back into WordPress and close at the top the block inserter by clicking on this X, and you see the panel disappears. Go to the right and you will see we have this little lines appear and it says document overview, something I use all the time. You can also get used to doing that. Select it and it opens up another panel and we have options here for list view and outline. If you select outline, you will see it gives you all the characters and the words you used and the time that it will take someone to read this article, just 2 minutes. That's not bad. It also gives you an outline overview of your headings, your HTML tags, so you can see WordPress also thinks this is very important. I never check this. I check always the list view. I just showed you the outline so that you know. Here with the list view, every block on this page appears here, and it starts at the very top with a paragraph. Now, this is what I like and things that can really help you. As I hover over this paragraph, you will see it turns blue and on the page, that blue bounding box appears. The next one is a heading, and you can see as I hover over them, the blue bounding box appears. The other great thing is that if I see this paragraph down below here, I want to work on it, click on it, and it will jump to that. And if you want to know where it is, just hover again over it and you see the blue bounding box. And this makes it very easy to edit stuff by just going to the list view and clicking on that area that you want to edit, and it will jump there automatically. It gives you a nice overview of what is happening on your page. Also note that you have options on the right, and these are the normal options that you will get on the page as well, like copy, delete, all of that. But our page is a little bit boring. We need some images to spice it up. You know, a website without images is a textbook. Close this panel and let's talk about images next. All right, when I say talk about images, this is a topic, and I want to share some tips on how to bring in images and create images from the very beginning so that you can do it right. The number one mistake you're going to make when creating websites is you're going to bring in images that are too big, their size is too big, and two, that you didn't format them into an aspect ratio before you did that. And these are the two things that I will always try and bring to you. And there's a third one. Images come in various formats. You probably know JPG, JPEG, and there's another one called PNG, and they have their place. But what happened recently is that Google created a new image format. And this format is a little bit smaller and it's optimized. It works at its best for websites, and it's called WebP. Many people still don't do this. They still bring in JPEGs and PNG for normal photos. Don't do that. Try and bring in WebP from the beginning. And on your computer, you probably don't have software that can give you WebP, but there are free online tools, and I'm going to walk you through this a couple of times so that you can get used to it. I'll show you, just like I did earlier with the AI, how I do it at the first time, and after this, I'm not going to show again because you can pick that up and do it by yourself. And remember, Louise, everything I'm showing you is for free. I want to bring an image on a page because we need images. Without images, it's boring as boring can be. For that, I recommend always try to use natural images that you have to your availability, but if not, we use stock sites. My favorite stock site is one called FreePic. So let's open up FreePic, and they have loads of free images. I am a subscriber, but you're going to see you can use a lot of free images. And I'm going to search for sleep and dreams, 2 words, and let's see what we get here. And we get some nice images, and there is a filter on the left. I'll just make sure I only get photos. I don't want anything else. So we want somebody who looks like they're having a good sleep and that they are dreaming. Okay, let's do this one here. This is actually an AI-generated image, but okay, we get used to AI as well. Click on the image, it opens a preview for you. Oh, that's very AI-y, but we're gonna use it anyway. And you can go to download and you see you have different sizes here. But I want to show you from scratch, so we stick to the original and click on download. And before I continue, just click outside here. This is a free image. Wherever you see this little crown, it will say premium content unlocked. For me, it's unlocked, but for you, if you haven't signed up with FreePic, it will be blocked. But all these that don't have that little crown icon is for free, so you can use them. But this one that we worked with at 5,376 pixels wide is too wide. And why is that? Let's go to the front end and I'll explain to you quickly. Most computers that people work on have a maximum width of 1,920 pixels. And that number is what we refer to as HD. You have to keep that in mind. That this page you are currently looking at is usually, for the majority of people, 1,920. Yes, there are 4K monitors, so that means it should be bigger, right? But when we think in terms of a website, we stick to that HD. The second thing you have to remember is that even though my entire screen goes all the way from left to right, the area where my actual content is, which we refer to as the canvas, is smaller. And there are also standards for this smaller canvas. And this canvas here is really narrow. This size is 750 pixels, something like that. I'm not 100% sure. But if you look up here from WP Foundations to where it says sample page, from that left all the way to this right is around 1,200 pixels. So what I'm telling you is that the image I'm going to bring in here shouldn't be bigger than 750 pixels because my content here is squeezed to 750 pixels. And in the second module, the core module, I'm going to show you where you can find out these values. If you know these values, prepare your images in advance. Don't bring in oversized images. It just helps you to create a better layout. So what do we have here? Again, let's do it. The entire screen that you can see from left to right is 1920. Actually, I have a 4K monitor, so it's not true, but this is for the majority of people. This area where your header is from the top to the bottom, as well as here as the bottom, this is going to be your entire site. This is around 1200 pixels. And then my content here, where you can see my post, is around 800, 900 pixels. So let's stick to 900. That means if I want to bring in an image, I really don't need 5376. I only need 900. So you can go and download the small one, but in most cases, you're going to get images that are too large. So you have to format them. Again, for that, I recommend a free tool called Photopea. Photopea is free. There is a subscription model if you want to. I use the free version all the time. And Photopea is also a little bit overwhelming if you want to know everything, but I'm going to show you just 3 steps in how you get the image that you want for your website. Let's bring in that image I've downloaded. I'll open my Explorer. And there's the image. Click, hold, and drag it onto Photopea, and it will open the image for me. The first thing I want to do is crop. So that is your aspect ratio. On the sidebar, you see a crop tool over here, or just hit C on your keyboard and it will give you the crop tool. At the top, it says free. Select that and you can choose one of these aspect ratios. I'll choose this one, 16:9, which is a very popular one. And once I do that, it gives me this aspect ratio. Now I can click and drag it around. I can also resize it. And once I have set it, click on the check up here. So first one is set the crop if you need to. The second one is now we're going to export it. Hop on over to File, Export As, and select WebP. You see the regulars PNG and JPG, JPEG is up there, but we select WebP. And this will give me the export box. Under the name, first give it a name. I'll say dream, sleep, benefit, something like that. And then for the width, remember, it's going to be part of my content area. My content area is locked at 900 pixels. I'll put in 900 pixels. Now I tab on my keyboard and the height will automatically adjust. Under quality, leave it on 50%. If yours is not at 50%, put it on 50%. You don't need 100%. And now comes the most important observation of your life. And that is that this image is now 14. That is ridiculously small. You have no idea how small that is. We started with an image, let me go to my folder, that is 5.8 megabytes. And now we are going to export this image to 14 bytes. And that is what we are aiming for, to get this image as small as possible. The smaller the image, the quicker your page will load, the more the internet will love you. So select Save. And that's it. We have created this. Let's jump back into WordPress. Now we want to bring in the image and we want to put it here, between this paragraph and this heading here, Stages of Sleep. There are many ways you can bring in images. I'm going to show you the easiest and the most underwhelming way of doing it, that it doesn't involve bringing in blocks or anything like that. Let's go to our Explorer. Open your Explorer or your Finder, and you see this is the one that we've created. 14 kilobytes. Hold, click and hold, and drag it. And as you drag it over to WordPress, you see that you get that blue line that appears there, and it shows you where you can bring in this image. And I want to put it here and let go. And look at that. It brought in the image, and if you click on it, it's already selected. You will see all the way to the left, the icon is that of an image. This is one way you can bring in an image. We'll still explore what you can do with images in the core module, But let's for now save this page and then go view it on the front end by refreshing. And immediately your blog post is starting to look like a professional blog post. Let me show you the other way of how we bring in images. Let's create one more image and go through this process. I'll select another one from this site here. Let's grab this one and I'll download it. And I know going through this process of downloading the images and then exporting them and formatting them looks like a big process. But once you've done this a few times, it goes quicker. Let's close this one. Bring in this image, click, hold, and drag and drop it. And then we go through the process. First is a crop. And I'll put it again on 16:9. Then I will say yes. Go to File, Export, WebP. Give it a name. Woman sleeping. Go to width, 900 pixels, tab, and save. Also a very small image. Go to WordPress. The way that we usually bring in images is that we bring in an image block. And I want to bring that in between this one, this paragraph here, and this heading. To bring in a block between blocks, you can just click on any of them, like this one, and then hover below it. And you will see that this blue line appears with a plus. And when you select it, it gives you a quick search for all the blocks that you need. The ones that you use most of the time, or the ones that WordPress think most relevant to you, will appear here. So you can see image appears here. Or you can just go to up toggle block inserter and the image will appear here under media. I'll click, hold, and drag it, so just to show you where we can drop it again, and drop it. But this time, it comes in empty, and it says you can upload an image, you can go to the media library, or you can insert it from a URL. Again, we're going to do it the simple way. I'll go to my Explorer, I'll click, hold, and I'll drag it, and there's the image. But you have to admit, this one we did at the beginning, I didn't even have to go through that steps. I just brought it in very easily. Let's look at one more way so you can understand how to upload it. So let's look for one more image here. And let's choose this person, even though it's not dreaming. And just to go through this process. And we're only going to do this 2 more times. And after this, I'm not going to go through this process again and again. Download the image, go to Photopea, close it, go to your folder, bring in the image, click, hold, and drag. And then we change the aspect ratio. This time I'm going to put it on a 1:1. Say yes. Then File, Export As, and select WebP. And let's call this one Crazy Dreams. And those eyebrows are looking at me. The width is 900 pixels. And save. Jump into WordPress. Let's bring in at the bottom, just before conclusion, we bring in one here. So let's click there in between them on Add Block. Oops, let's do it again. Where are you? WordPress. Let's see if we can get it. And this is one thing about WordPress. I clicked on it and now I cannot get that. So we go to our block panel, go to image, and I'll drag it in. This time click on Upload. And when we upload, it's going to open up your folder, your Finder, and I'll click on Crazy Dreams and open, and it brings in the images for us. And now you've created a really funky and really professional looking blog. Let's save our work. Click on the preview. It'll open another tab for us. And this is starting to look like a real blog post. Yeah, I say that. You probably say to me, JP, I can make it look much better. I want to know about that. We'll tackle all of that later on and in the core module. But this is everything you need to set up a good blog post. You need headings, you need paragraphs, and you need images. The combination of any blog post. And as long as you have these 3, a good structure in terms of headings, your H2, your H3, paragraph text, and some impactful images, you will have an outstanding blog post. Let's close these tabs for a while, these open tabs, and go back into WordPress. Oh, we could have stayed there. And exit everything. Click on the W for WordPress there and view our site on the front end. Remember, we are in the back end. We want to go to the front. We just click here on the name in the top left. And now things have changed. Now our front end shows us this post, Hello World, plus it shows us this post that we've just created. And what it does, it shows the title of the post plus a little excerpt, a little part that it takes out. And what it does, it takes out the first part of the first paragraph and puts that text here. And from here, I can click on this and it will open my post for me. And that's how I get to my post. If I want to go back to the landing, the home page, let's call it home page, go to the top where my name is here, and this is how I navigate around. So this area that is the front end currently for me shows all my posts in a grid form. We have this Hello World and we have the Science of Dreams. And when we add more posts later on, you're going to see how this one will build out. There's something crucially missing here. And that is we need to have an image that will display with the post when it is presented here so that it brings in that visual allure. The second reason that is also important for that image is that when somebody shares this post on Facebook, we want an image to be shared with that. That image that tells us everything about our post is called the featured image. And you have to set this. Oh, so many people forget about this. I often come across a website and then when I see this, I realize one, they built it in WordPress, and two, they completely forgot about the featured image. Let's go back into WordPress to the back end. So click on the name. And I'm doing this just so you can get used to the interface. Click on posts and select the post that we've created, the Science of Dreams, and we go into the WordPress/Gutenberg editor. And now I introduce you to the inspector. Another term, I'm not sure who came up with it. I would have called it settings, but someone decided to call it the inspector. And you will hear this word inspector all the time. The inspector is this panel all the way to the right. Yeah. So this is called the inspector. I just often refer to the settings. And if you hear me call settings, it means all the way to the right. At the top, there are two that you can choose from. One is post, and this relates to the entire post. And the block will be whenever you click on a specific block, you will see it updates. So I click on the image, different settings. I click on the heading, different settings. I click on the paragraph, different settings. If I want to go back to my page, I can just click anywhere outside here on the white area, or I can select post here from the inspector. If for some reason you got trigger happy and you closed this panel by mistake by clicking on this X and your page looks like this, go to the top and just in front of save or publish, go to this little setting where it says settings and not inspector, amazingly, and click on that and it will open the settings. Now that I see it says settings, I'm going to refer to it as settings. So just note, some people may call it the inspector. We are talking about the featured image. Remember, that image that will appear on your post whenever somebody shares it or when it appears on the front end. And as you go here, there is an option to set the featured image. This can be this image, but it can be any other image. And I usually choose an image that is very specific for this post. Here's another tip. Don't reuse an image again and again on your site. The search engines pick that up when they see you are reusing images and that you are being lazy. And that will count against you, maybe. So always try and use different and new images. And this is the last image that I'm going to show you how to format. After that, you're on your own. I'll go back into free photo. This time I'm going to look at search just dreams, something different. And okay, this is very abstract, right? Dreams. Okay, it's not dreaming, it's about dreams. But let's go with the abstract. And I'll choose this one. Download the image once it loads. And then I'll go to Photopea. I'll close to my Explorer. Bring in that image. And for featured images, my tip at this point is that the aspect ratio you're going to use for cropping must remain the same. If you decide you go with a 16:9 for this one, you must make sure that you use 16:9 for all your featured images. Just trust me on this. In many cases, some stuff that you will use when you put these posts next to each other and these featured images are not the same aspect ratio, it will not look good. So a tip from the very beginning that you have to apply is make sure your featured image is the same aspect ratio all the time. So I'll go and I'll select 4:3. I'll say yes. And now I'm going to export it. But this time, our width is going to be different. Let's first give it a name, and we call it Dreams Featured Image. And then for the width, I'm going to make it a full HD width, which is 1920. And then if I tap, it will give me that 1440 that you see over there. Luckily, it is still a tiny image. It's 59 kilobytes. It's about kilobytes. And I'll click on Save. Now we go into WordPress, set featured image, select that, and it opens something that we've not seen so far. And this is the interface for the media library. In the next chapter, we'll look at the media library. So it says drop files to upload or select. And if you click on select, it's going to open up your Explorer or Finder, or like before, you just drop it. And why I love this drop feature so much is 10 years ago, we didn't have this drop feature. This is kind of brand new. And it's just so awesome that you can just grab these images and drag them into the media library. And now that we have them here, you go to the bottom right and click on Set Featured Image. And now the image will appear here in the settings. Let's save. And now let's go see how this will look on the front. Exit to WordPress at the top and then click on the front end. Aha. And you can see now things are shaping up the way that you are used to working with other people's websites, that you have a featured image for your post. And here's your post. But something really crazy is going to happen now when I click on this and you're going to view the post. And that is that the featured image comes in at full size here. And then you have your post below that. And this is not the best looking featured image layout you've ever seen in your life, right? It's a little bit over the top, too much, and it's a little bit invasive, and you don't even know if there's an article below it. We will remedy all of this in the next module. For now, we're working with the foundations, so understand this is the featured image. It shows you when you look at the front end, and I click here on the name at the top, it gives you this. When people share this link on Facebook, this is the image that will appear. And when you go into the post itself, automatically WordPress puts this featured image at the top. And in this case, they even make it a little bit darker. They apply a dark overlay to it. And that is the purpose of the featured image, is so that your page has an image. When it is shared, when it is viewed, you can see that image. We just saw the media library. So let's talk about the media library. Go to the back end, click here on the name. Sidebar on the left, we worked with posts, and just below posts, we have media. Click on media and it opens the media library. And lo and behold, look at that. 4 images that we've used, they are already here. I mentioned to you the past. In the past, we couldn't even bring in images while you were working in the editor. You couldn't drag and drop them. What you had to do is you had to come into the media library and upload the images from here. And you can do that again with this simple feature of just dragging and dropping. So I have an image over here that I've used in another website, and I'll just drag it and I'll drop and it uploads. Then you can select the image and it will show you the image. It will give you some details, the size of the image, and you can cycle through the images by using these arrows at the top. This is where you manage all your media. Not only can you bring in images, you can also bring in videos, you can bring in PDF files, Word documents. All of this is where your media is housed. If you don't know how to bring it in by dragging and dropping, you click here on Add New Media File. And then again, it will tell you just drop it here. We've already dropped it, but it will tell you you can drop it again, or you can click on Select File and it will open again the folder for you so you can bring in the files and you can navigate until you find the images that you need. If you want to get rid of images, I also recommend if there are images in here that you don't use, get rid of them. Clean this baby up all the time because if it gets dirty, it gets stinky. And if you want to delete it, you just select the image and you can click here on Delete Permanently. And then it will ask me if I'm really sure, and I'll say, I'm really sure, get rid of this bad boy. Okay? And it's gone. And now we're back to our 4 images. This is the media library, and you have the library below it. You can say media library or add new media file as sub-links for this media library. For me, though, since I've started just using the on-page drag and drop, and I format my images before the time and I do it properly, I hardly come to the media library since I've started this new way of working. In the past, I used to farm here all the time. Nowadays, I hardly come here. Next, we talk about permalinks. What is that? Select your website name and go to the front end. And we select this article that we've just worked on, The Science of Dreams. And it opens up. Go to the top where the address bar, we call this your URL, appears. And it says WP Foundations 25.s3 blah, blah, blah. This part here that I'm highlighting is my website address. This is where people will go when they come and visit the site. This part here is the part that points to this post. So this is the name of the post. And we often refer to this part as a slug, S-L-U-G. It's the slug. So you have the official domain, your URL over here, WP Foundations, and this will bring you to the website. But to get to this page, add the slug and it brings you to this post, this specific post. And you see the name, The Science of Dreams, Unlocking the Mysteries, they are there. But there's this part, 25/03/16, the 16th of March. This is the date on which this post was created. No, we don't want that there. Why is that there? It's again the history of WordPress. And the default installation, when you do WordPress, will create this slug by adding the date on which the post was created. This entire thing will be the permalink, the link to which we go. And it's referred to in WordPress as permalink. So we want to change it. And yes, you can. You can tell WordPress, I don't want the date. I only want the post name. This is actually a setting that I change the moment I install WordPress so that I don't get confused with it later on. We do that within the backend at settings. Go to the backend and then navigation sidebar, go to settings. And then subsettings, you will see permalinks over here. And you'll only do this once. But for every time you install WordPress, you have to do this at least once. Click on permalinks. It gives you all this crazy stuff. But what you want to focus on is permalink structure. And select post name. That's all I want. In that little slug in the URL, I only want to see the post name. I don't want to see the date. So make sure you select post name and then make sure you select save changes. So let's go to the front again. Click on the post and you will see at the top, it doesn't appear anymore. There is though this part that has popped in now called index.php. This is something that TestWP adds because we are using their free platform. If you are using this on a paid host or your own website address, this will not appear. It will only be the post name. So don't worry about this index.php. It's not going to be there on your site. It will only be the post name. That is the permalink, something you do once for every WordPress installation. But remember, because if you don't, you may end up having weird names up here for your posts and your pages. And it's just something you don't want. You don't want these extra digits up there making that name too long. While we are here, let's click on our name here, WP Foundations. That will take us to the home page and it shows again our layout of posts here. I mentioned earlier that this part here is an excerpt. This is a little summary, a trailer, something that teases the visitor as to what this article is about. And it takes the first few words and sentences from your first paragraph, and often, most of the time, that's not a good idea. And we want to take control of this excerpt and give it something that we can add there. And yes, we can do that. So to do that, click on the post. And then once you are here within the post, click on Edit Post in the toolbar here at the top, and it takes us again into the editor. Go to the settings on the right, and you will see there is the option Add an Excerpt. Within this box, you can add an excerpt that will describe your article. Here is a pro tip. Let the AI do that for you. Yes, it's pro to let someone else do it for you. Then you are truly professional. So take all of the text that you have. This text, you take it all here, you copy it, go back to your AI, and you will tell them, and I'll just open a new thread, new conversation. Give me a 30-word excerpt to describe the following block. And then I'll shift enter and paste all of that text and enter. And Meta is going to read everything for me. And then here it gives. Explore the fascinating world of dreams, unlocking the mysteries of the subconscious mind and uncovering the science behind REM sleep, brain regions, and theories on dreaming. Beautiful. I would have taken half an hour and then countless of edits afterwards to write this. Don't fight the AI. They're gonna take over. For now, I can still make my own coffee. Let's go back to our post. And I'll paste this here. Lovely. And then I'll just click here. And you can see now that excerpt appears under my featured image. We select Save. Let's view the post. But the excerpt does not appear on the post itself. It only appears on that grid page on my home page. So click on the Home button here, WP Foundations, or whatever you called it. And now when we look under the title, you will see my excerpt appears here. And because I limit it to 30 words, everything is there. I took full control of it. There's no ... And the visitor, they don't have to guess what this is about. Beautiful. That's how you create a post. But now we need to create another post. And I'm going to show you even a more awesome way of bringing in text, especially if you've created it with AI, to build out a post in 0 time. No, that's going to take you some time. You know what I'm saying. I promised to show you something really cool about WordPress working together with the extraordinary world of AI, and I'm going to follow through on that. We're already running at quite a length for this Foundations tutorial. As always, Websites for Beginners. We really want you as a beginner to know what's going on. I spent countless of hours, sometimes figuring out just one small thing that somebody showed in the tutorial, and I thought it's rudimentary, it's elementary, it's very easy to understand. But when it came to my own setup, it would take me hours, and I'm a troubleshooter. I'm a damage controller. When something goes wrong, I really want to know. So I really hope that with this Foundations, I can give you that extra step of saving you hours and hours on stuff that you only need to do once, like, for example, the permalink I showed you earlier. Let's get back. We're going to create a second post. Let me just clean up here. I'll close this front end. I'll keep that open. And we were in the back end with this. Let's go and select here, top left corner, view posts. And we're again in this post area. Or you can just go to the navigation sidebar on the left and select posts to get here. Let's create a new post. Where will this new post come from? Now, remember, I told you I had worked with the AI and I had worked on the sleep topics. And it gave me 10 topics. And then I told it, write a funny and engaging 500-word article on your first topic suggestion, the science of dreams, unlocking the memories, structured as a blog post with the H1, H2, and perhaps H3 headings. I told it everything which I just showed you in the last hour. And the AI understands that because it knows how websites work, it knows how the structure works, and it knows exactly what an HTML title is. And this was the first article based on this topic. Then I took the second topic and I basically told it the same. In the same style, write another 500-word blog article on the second topic, sleep and mental health, the complex connection. And I got this. Now, the first thing is we're going to create a new post, and this will be the title for the post, the name, and I'll have to copy this. So let's go to posts, click on add new post. In the title, paste the title or write your title, and then we publish the post. Go to the top left, click publish, click on publish, and you can click on view post. And as before, nothing here yet. To edit this post, go to the WordPress toolbar, select edit post. Previously, we brought in the text one by one. Actually, previously, I went to the AI, I copied all of this, I went into Word, I pasted it, and I removed all the formatting. But this time, I'm going to copy directly from the AI. So I'll select the text from this first paragraph, I'll go down, and I'll right-click and copy. There is a copy feature here somewhere. I would just use the select and copy. That makes it easier. And then I'll go into WordPress, click there to place the cursor, and then Control-V, Command-V to paste. And observe the magic. Let me scroll up. Do you fully grasp what has happened here? The AI has created these titles and bullets, and these titles are H2 titles, my section headings. And just by pasting it, WordPress understands. If I select this title, you see it's a heading, H2. Go to this one, heading, H2. This one, heading H2. Wow-wee. This is really super impressive. And if you wrote it like that, you can, again, like I said, just copy, paste, and bring everything in. In fact, you can do it in WordPress and you can do it in Google Docs. So keep this in mind. If you've written an article, it already comes in with titles. WordPress will figure it out. And for the rest of the text, it will do a pretty good job. We'll look at this bullet feature in a short while. Every time you create a new post, you have to go through a few checks. You bring in your content, and then you have to bring in images, and you have to bring in a featured image, and you have to create an excerpt. I've created these images beforehand. So in this case, I'm not going to do all of that again and show you step by step. So FreePic, I'm closing you out. Photopea, I'm closing you out. Remember those links, they are super, super useful. In WordPress, I'll go and set my featured image first. And then from my folder, I'll look for a featured image for my second article. This is featured image here. This is my second article, featured image. And I'll set featured image. Great. Then for my excerpt, I'll go to the AI again and I'll use this one. Where did I say this one? I'll go to this one. This was my first article where I said, give me a 30-word excerpt to describe the following blog. Because it's in this thread, I don't have to give it that instruction again. I can say, do the same for this article. And the AI will know I'm looking for a 30-word excerpt because it follows the same thread. I'll paste that new article that I've created. And it will give me a nice little excerpt. Explore the intricate link between sleep and mental health, understanding how they impact each other, and discovering strategies to break the cycle of sleep disturbances and mental health issues. Good grief. Creating this, I sound like an expert. So I copy that excerpt. I come into WordPress, click on Add Excerpt, click in the box and paste, and just click outside so it's locked in. And now I have my featured image. I've created the excerpt. Let's bring in a few images as well. And remember, the easiest way to do that is just drag and drop them directly onto the page. So let me just get my images. It's the 02. So I drag an image there and it drops. Ooh. And another image I'll drag here. And how many images do I have here? 4. I have 4. So I can use 4. Let's put this one there. And then 1 at the bottom. So simple. And because I edited them before with Photopea, I got the right aspect ratios I needed, and I formatted them to a nice WebP resolution, they will display properly. And how long did it take me to create this post? That is deceptive. I want to say that. People will always tell you online, these YouTubers, these influencers and creators, they will tell you, you can create a website in under 1 hour. It's the biggest baloney on earth. The preparation will take you hours, the layout and construction. If you've done this for a long time and you have a good setup, it may take you under an hour. But just getting the information, the content and the images, that alone takes you sometimes days to get all of that ready. But once you are used to the structure and how you want it to look, it becomes very easy. One tip I want to give you. As a noob, and even professionals, be careful of I want to do more. I want it to look bigger. I want it to look smarter and fancier, more glamour. Put the glitter on, Bobby. Be careful of that. Simple is better when it comes to websites. I don't know how I can overstate this enough. Don't start and bring in fancy stuff here. When you look at this blog post, it looks good. That's exactly what a blog post should do. It should bring in the content. It should be structured. That's why you have the headings. That's why we have the bullet points. It should have the images and all the other nice stuff. Now that we've done that, click on S for save at the top. Save at the top, not S. And then let's preview it on the front end. And here we have this featured ugly at the top, not the guy, the featured image. And it's got that dark overlay again. And here is our article. It doesn't match. We'll fix all of this in the core module that follows this foundations module. Let's scroll to the top, go to your home page setting here, WP Foundations 25, and select it. And now we go to the front end for the home page, and you can see how nicely this is starting to start looking like a true blog, right? We have the first one here, and we have the second one here, with their feature images looking grand. People are already talking about you, the professional in the village who can create great looking websites. Sorry. We are digressing, only me. Let's close this out and talk about this that has come in. This area we have here, these bullets. Click on this bullet and observe the toolbar. We have to talk a little bit about what's going on here. In fact, let's click on the paragraph block first and see we have that little symbol for the paragraph. When I click here on this bullet block, something different happens. I have a detached little block here, and it says select parent block list. This one that I've clicked on appears here, and this is called a list item. The moment you have a disconnected block here, it indicates that there is a bigger block that contains this block. So it's a parent block. We refer to it as a parent block. And this parent block contains all the list items. So I select this one, and it will give me the same parent block. Whenever I click on this and I see that I'm working with this list item, when I select this one, you see the blue bounding box now encapsulates both list items. That's how a parent container works. And the parent container allows you to apply different settings to all of them immediately. Let's just do that one more time. I have list items here, 3 bullets. I click on the first one. And if I hover here on the list item, you see the blue bounding box. Same for this one. I click on it. There's my blue bounding box. And same for this one. If I select to the left, it encapsulates all of them. This is even better displayed. Now we go to the list view. Do you remember where is the list view? To the top, document overview, and then list view. And now we have something a little bit different. You can see we have our paragraphs, we have an images, we have image even with a thumbnail, And then we have the list here with a little chiffon next to it, which shows you that you can open it. And now we have the list items below it. This becomes actually quite intricate later on, and we will cover this in the core module when we start working with other add-ons that allows us to create complex columns. Then you have a lot of hidden sub-column and another sub-column. This is very standard in WordPress to have a parent container that houses these sub-containers. So you have a list item here and you have a list item here. And that's how we created the bullets. And I can close this up again and the entire structure appear here. One thing you can also do here in the list view is that you can also move around blocks that you want to place in a different position. If I look at this image and I select the image, you will also see it highlights within the list view. I want to put it below this sleep mental health cycle. And remember, we can do it here by dragging it, or using the arrow keys, or going to the list view and holding it here and dragging it where I want it to go. As simple as that. Another shortcut key which is often used in WordPress and any website design is your number one friend called undo. And that is Control-Z, Command-Z. If I want my image to move back to the previous position, I'm going to hit Control Command-Z on my keyboard and it moves. You just need to know Control-Z, Command-Z. If you want to use a clickable feature up here in the toolbar, you will see you have undo here. That's the Control-Z. And here you have the redo, Control-Y. Remember those two shortcuts. They are lifesavers. Every block has a contextual toolbar, and we've seen this toolbar now a few times. Go to this paragraph and select it, and let's look at what this block toolbar has. These three options we've seen appear in all blocks. This is an indicator of which block it is. And this indicator also appears here in the settings on the right, under block, and the first word you see is paragraph, and it tells you it's a paragraph block. If I click on the image, you will see it updates, and now it will say image, and our icon here also changes. Then we have the drag handle, and we have the arrows to move it around. However, everything that happens after this depends on the element, the block that you are working with. Select the text, and we have alignment of text. You can see we can put it to the center. You can adjust it to the right. We have bold. So if I select text here, I can make it bold. I can make it italic. And here is an option to put a link in so that when people click on it, they will go to another page. And from the drop down, we have more options. And then you have the three dots that gives you the settings for the block. When you go to the image, select the image, and after the first three, we get here alignment. We can change the width. Then we have here different color duotones that you can apply to it, and many others. Each block will have their own specific set of functions. Don't overlook this. There are going to be times when you're looking for a feature. You're going to spend minutes, half an hour plus looking for the feature. And in the end, it's here in the context toolbar. Try and get familiar with the context toolbar because it's going to help you a lot with the stuff that you want to do on this page. Apart from the context toolbar, the next important place is the settings, the inspector all the way to the right. Every time you select a block, the settings here on the panel, in the panel on the right, updates to provide you settings for that specific block. In many cases, this is different to the settings in the context toolbar. In some cases, there may be settings in the toolbar that also appear in the settings in the sidebar. I've selected the paragraph block here, and when we go to the right, you will see we have options for color, for the text, the background. Then we have typography, which is the font. We can change the size, and then we have other options here as well. Let's have a look at what all of this does. If I select text, And we have color options we can choose here from. And we have default colors. Let's go for this green. Now we can see nothing. Red. And you can play around with these colors. If you want to go back to the default, select clear. The same you can do for the background. Select background, and you have options not only for a background color, but you can also apply a gradient. To go back to the default, select clear. Typography. Here you have presets for the size. You can put it on small, medium, or extra large, which is extra large, which is very big. This icon here gives you custom size. You can select the value, and usually when we work with text, or I am going to work with text, we put it on pixels. That's similar to what is happening in Word and Google Docs. And then I can increase my pixels from here. And that's how you set the custom size if you want to have that control. Untoggle it to go back to the medium large. And if you want to go back to the default, go to the typography options and select reset all. Just note you have other options here like appearance, line height, letter spacing, decoration, letter case. That's for the next module. Reset all, and we're back to the default. Select the image block, and you will see have different options here. You can have alternative text, something we'll cover in the future. Aspect ratio, you can change here. So even though I brought it in and it honors the original aspect ratio, I can set it here to square or the standard, which is I think what I did. Classic 3.2. No, that's the original classic portrait. You get the idea. And go back to original. You also have the option to set the width and the height, and the resolution is the size of the image. It's set to full size. That means I saved this image as 900 pixels wide. It brings in at 900 pixels wide. I can choose a medium resolution, and you will see it will change the size of this image. So we keep it at full size. One option here that appears for every block is the advanced, and you're not going to use this. Just note there's another tab here next to the settings, and that is styles. So again, you have filters that you can apply here. Let's clear it. And you have dimensions like margins and borders, something that we will tackle later on. So remember, every block, the settings appear over here in the right, and you have options here to change that and make it a little bit unique for your site. Let's save our page, and I'll close the list view, and we talk about categories. Make sure you click on the page here so we can get the post settings and look at categories and tags. First, we will look at categories. Categories are really important for blogging. It's a way to file and sort the topics you have. It's a great way also for people to find posts related to each other. I am lazy when it comes to categories and tags. If you're going to have a blog-focused website, spend time on categories and tags. Now, this website is about mental health, but the current articles I'm writing is about sleep. So the category I want to create here is everything to do with sleep. Open up the categories, and currently it is set to an uncategorized category. WordPress creates an uncategorized category, and you cannot remove it. You can just reset what the post is to the category you wanted. Select Add New Category, and I'll call it Sleep. This is a sleep category. Once you've typed it, hit Enter on your keyboard, and it will add the sleep category, and it's also checked. Now that we've given this post a category, we do not want it to be uncategorized. So we unselect that, and we can save our post. Just note that you can create more than one category. If this post maybe includes sleep and diet for mental health, then you'll also add another category here for diet. Let's do that. I'll add diet. Hit Enter on my keyboard, and it highlights diet and sleep. Save. Click on Preview. And this is our post. Scroll to the bottom. And here at the bottom, you will see the post information. Posted on March 16th. This is the date I published it, and it is posted to these two categories, and it was created by me, diet and sleep. All right? Then go to the top. Because our first post doesn't have categories yet, click on the homepage WP Foundations, select the first post, select Edit Post in the WordPress toolbar, and then in the inspector settings on the right, scroll down and under categories, you will see diet and sleep appears here. This one, first uncheck uncategorize, is only about sleep, but we're going to talk about dreams here as well. So let's add another category, and we call this one dreams. So these two posts have sleep in common, but then they have a different category that's not in common. Hit enter, and you see dreams and sleep. Select save. Go preview it on the front end. Scroll to the bottom, and you see we have dreams and we have sleep. Now, what is the purpose of these categories? I, as a viewer, come to your page. I've read this article and I found it very interesting. Now I see that there is a category just for dreams and another category just for sleep. I think I want to read more about all the articles on this website that are related to sleep. I select sleep, and it will give me all the articles related to sleep. And this is not impressive because we only have two. Click on this Science Dreams, and we go to the bottom. In this case, I want to read everything about articles on dreams. When I select dreams, I only get this one. The purpose of categories is to filter. That is the bottom line focus of the categories, is to allow your articles to be sorted and that you can filter it so when you have a visitor interested in a specific topic, they can get the articles related to that topic. This is a little bit of extra work, and you need to do it if you are bringing in a blog and you're going to blog regularly, because once you have these categories, you can use them to build out a website. You can create these pages just for each category individually and make sure that people find the topics they are used to. Now that we've created the categories, go to WordPress dashboard. So we select the name at the top. We are in the back end and go to posts and hover over posts. Don't click on it. From the sub menu, you will see we have all posts. Then we have add new post. And below that, we have categories. You can also add the categories here, and you can manage them from here. Select categories, and then all the categories that you've created appear here on the right. We have diet, we have dreams, we have sleep, and then the uncategorized that is created by WordPress, which you cannot remove. Next to the name, there is an option to add a description. This is also useful. And then you have the slug, that little part that will appear after your URL, and you can also change this. And then the count shows how many articles related to this category. For diet, we only have one article. For dreams, one. For sleep, 2 articles related. If you want to add a description, click on any of these categories. You can see here is the name. There is the slug, the part that goes into the website address, and then you add a description. Everything about diets concerning sleep. And here is where I will use our friend AI again to write something really smart. Select update. If you want to add a new category from this area, you simply go to the categories again, and then under new category, you can add new categories here. Soon I will bring in a third article, and what I'm going to do with this article, it will also be about sleep, but this one will be about disorders that are connected and disorders, and I can leave slug open. If I leave it open, it will take that word disorders and it will use it as a slug, and then description, everything about disorders. And select add new category. And it will appear here on the right, and you will see the slug has updated to disorders. it usually uses the plural. If you want a different slug, if you have a specific word that you want to use there, you can add your own. 99.9% of the time, I leave this open. And now you can see we've built out these categories. I want to add one more post so that we have 3 posts so that you understand the categories better. And also the next thing I'm going to show you is tags. To create a new post, go to the navigation sidebar on the left, Posts, and select Add New Post. I already have an article here, The Future of Sleep Technology. So it's actually not disorders. We could have changed the category to technology. I'll jump back. Oh, let's close this, and this will happen all the time when you are working with WordPress. You have all these tabs open. You just need to do a little bit of house cleaning. Otherwise, you will save things that don't need saving and focus on those things that are important. This is the new post we want to create. I'll add first the title. Then I will go and select all the text. Copy. Click and paste. Control V, Command V. Bring in a few images for this one. This is actually about brain food. More image, another image there. And one image here. This is my content. Then I'll go to the post, select the post option, or click on the canvas to get to the post, set featured image. And I'll grab my featured image, drag and drop, set featured image, and add an excerpt. And I'll tell the AI do the same, which means write that 30-word excerpt that I did at the beginning. And I love this about the AI. It can remember that. So I'll select this text, copy, go to WordPress, add the excerpt, Control V, click, and select publish. You can publish your page at any time. Let's view the post. There is my featured image, and here is my post. How quickly have we done that? Let's set up the categories because currently it's set to uncategorized. To the toolbar at the top, select Edit Post. We go to Categories, decheck Uncategorized, and we select Disorders and Sleep, and select Save. View it on the front end. Go to the bottom, and we have Disorders and Sleep. But let's add one more category here. I'll jump back into the back end, and I'll add it to Diet, because this is also about food. And Save. Go to the front end, refresh, and let's look at these categories now. Now I have 3. When I select disorders, I'll only get this one because it's the only one that is about disorders. So I'll select it again, scroll to the bottom. When I select sleep, I'm going to get 3 because these 3 are all connected to sleep. So I'll select it one more time, scroll to the bottom, and select diet. And now I get the 2 articles related to the diet. Close the front end and go to the sidebar on the right where the settings are and close categories and open tags. Tags are words that highlight what your article is all about. They are similar to categories, but they are broader. Whereas with categories, you only want to use the main categories for the article, and you shouldn't go crazy. You shouldn't have for each article like 10 categories, 1 or 2 categories to help sort the article. But tags are all those keywords in the article that you can use for visitors to search. So tags is a kind of categories. It's just a more casual, broader type of word, and you can think of anything that fits it. And the same way you did the categories, the same way you can do the tags. But I want to give you, again, a little piece of advice. To help you understand what words are within your text that are good tags that you can use, AI can help you with that. I'll go to my meta, and I'll go to my topic that I've created here. And again, I'll copy all the text. I'll open a new conversation just to show you. My instruction is, give me a few popular tags for the following article. Meta knows what is a tag, and it will give you words from this article that it will decide are useful and purposeful and popular words, so that when people come to your site and they search for these words, these are the tags that they will search for. I'll shift enter, and then I'll paste the entire article, and I'll hit enter on my keyboard for Meta to do the thinking. And Meta is going to give me hashtags. It's just not important. It doesn't have to be hashtags. It can just be normal tags. And what you can do, I'm curious, if we copy all of that, I don't think it's going to work. And you go to add new tag and you paste it. Copy and paste, this is not going to work. So you can go to sleep technology, copy and paste it there, but you also have to put in a spacer. You can do that. You can type like normal. Put your cursor behind sleep technology and enter on your keyboard, and it will create the tag for you. What I usually do when I have tags like this, I will copy all of them. I'm going to tell them, remove the hashtags. Let's see what it does. Okay, it removed the hashtags and it added the space. And then I'll say, give me it as comma separated values. I'm curious. Yes. Comma separated values, and I spelled separated incorrectly, but the AI knows I'm an idiot, so it helps me. Give me it as comma separated values. It gives me all those tags with commas. And all I need to do now is copy that, go into WordPress, and paste them. Wait, I don't need sleep technology. I already have sleep technology, so only copy from wearables. Paste, Control V, and look at that. All the tags come in. I only have to hit enter, not even. And my tags appear here. This is a great new way of sorting it, similar to categories, but you usually have a few more tags than categories. Click on Save. We go to the front end to see where these tags appear. We scroll to the bottom, and you see the tags appear here. And now I can sort my website by clicking on these tags. Of course, I only have one article. So if I click on sleep technology, I'll only get this one article. Go to the front, clicking on the home logo here at the top, and let's select this article. Edit with post. Go to the sidebar on the right for settings and go to tags. Let's open it up. Oh, it's already open. And now most used tags will appear here at the bottom. Those tags that I just added to the previous article, some of them, not always all of them, will appear here. If I want some of them to be associated, I just click, and as I click, they are added. However, remember, this article may have other specific tags only related to this article. And also, you have to make sure that your tags are related to each other. So if you are using Meta AI, make sure that for one article, Meta doesn't give you a word like sleep technology, and for the second article, it gives you a meta or a tag like technology sleep, because it's going to be two tags. That's totally redundant. You can do this with the AI. I showed you just how I can take it from remove hashtags to give me comma separated values, and how I easily can put that right within WordPress. Ooh, where are we? Let's close this one. That's what I mean when too many tabs are open. Now let's save this. We go view it on the front end. Go to the bottom. We can sort this now by our categories or by our tags. If I click on wearables, we get two articles that have the same tags. Let's pause for a moment at what's going on with tags and categories. I've clicked on this tag called wearables, and it gives me this page, and it shows me these two posts. Where on earth is this page coming from? I didn't create this page. I click on this article, and let's go to the categories, and we choose diet. And it gives me these two articles, the same articles, but now we have at the top it says category, and diet. Let's do the same again for our tags. Click on that article and select here on artificial intelligence. This time only one article. And at the top it says tag artificial intelligence. These pages help you to sort those categories and tags, but you have no control over creating them. They kind of exist there already. We refer to these pages as archive pages. And you have to learn this term, archive page. It is like a page that represents or presents those articles that you are looking for to a specific description, category, or a specific tag. And it sorts it for you. In Module 2, I'm going to show you that you can change how this page looks in terms of the size of the font, the color, even the heading at the top. But you can never actually create this page. This page is part of the WordPress great brain. Whenever you are creating a page to display a specific category or a specific tag, then you are going to get this archive page. This is where this page comes from. And this took me a long time at the very beginning to make peace with, because I kept looking for these pages. Where are these pages? And in fact, there is another page that you've already encountered that's also an archive page. And that is the page that we currently see as our home page. Scroll to the top and select your site name up here. And it gives us our 3 posts, plus this Hello World post and the rest of the page. We never created this page, but all our posts, all our blogs appear on this page. And this is also an archive page. We didn't create it. It was given to us by the creators of WordPress. But this one we often refer to as a blog posts page, with the post being plural, blog posts. It's still an archive page, but it brings in together all the blogs in order, and you can sort them from this page. These are archive pages. Remember them. Whenever you are blogging and you're creating posts within WordPress, archive pages become very important. People screw this up often because they just create posts and they forget to go and look at how the archive page looks. So they create this beautiful website, and then someone goes and they read this article, and at the bottom or somewhere else on the page, they see the category for diet, or they see a tag for wearables, and they think, okay, I want to see which other articles you have for wearables. And when they click on it, you get an ugly looking page that doesn't match the rest of your website. Like I said, we'll cover this in Module 2 when we look at how you work with these archive pages, and you can make them and customize them so that they can fit with the rest of your website. The archive pages, they list all your posts. You don't create them. They are there by default. Select again your name at the top to take you to your home page, which is showing you all your articles. And look over here, this Hello World article that was installed by default is still there. Let's delete it. To delete the post, you go to the back end, select your back end. Let's close this tab. Go to posts and select posts, and then Hello World, click here on trash. Once you click on trash, it is trashed, but it is not gone. So if you deleted it by mistake, you can still bring it back. At the top of this list, you will see we have all the pages that are published. It shows you these 3 pages, these 3 posts rather, and then next to it, the trash can. Select the trash can and Hello World appears here. Here, you can choose whether you want to delete it permanently. Select it, and now that one is gone forever. No Hello World, it's bye-bye world. Click on all posts, and these 3 posts are there. Having done that, let's do a few changes to our site and make sure the settings for the site itself is okay. When WordPress is installed for the first time, like we did, it installs English, and it installs the American English version of WordPress. And for me, even though my mother tongue isn't English, I speak Afrikaans, I prefer using the English interface because once I switch it to Afrikaans, I have no idea what those terms mean. We have a very strange habit in my mother tongue that we refuse to use words from other languages, so we make up these crazy Afrikaans words, and then I don't recognize them in the interface. But for many others, like in Chinese, French, etc., people like using the interface in their language, and you can do that with WordPress. So what I do at a minimum, I change the WordPress backend UI language to English South Africa, and it makes a small change. Because we're based on the British system, we add a U to color and favor, those kind of things, and a few more terms will change, but nothing dramatically. Go to Settings, select General. Scroll down a little bit, and you'll find Site Language. Currently, it's set to English United States, and all the languages of the world appear here. I'll scroll up, I'll find English South Africa, select, and once you've done that, go to Save Changes. Now my site will have the English South Africa user interface, and you will see nothing really has changed because a few letters here and there will move around. I can show you one place that it makes a difference. If we go to Posts, and I want to delete any of these, the word trash has now moved to bin. So instead of saying I'm putting it in the trash can, now I'm putting it in the bin. Actually, I think in South Africa we call it a garbage can. But anyway, this is the change that happens here. And if you're using English from Australia or Great Britain, you may also experience a change here. If you go to your settings, General, and we choose a language like Japanese, let me find over here, and I say Save Changes, you're going to see a dramatic change to the interface. Japanese will know what's going on here. I don't. Luckily, this page is still on the settings, so I know here I have the little language switcher. I'll go back and put it on English South Africa. Update. And something I can work with, returns. Staying with the general settings, the site title is the name of your website. This is the name we gave it when we signed up with TasteWP, but you may want to change it and you may want to make it really powerful. If you have a business, you want to stick to your business name. We'll call it WordPress Foundations 2025. And as I do that, notice how the name here in the WordPress toolbar updates. Save. And select the front end to view. And note in the Chrome browser toolbar, the tab at the top, you will now see it says WordPress Foundations 2025. Your name has updated there. Again, a mistake that many people make when they use WordPress is to forget to change the site name. Next to the site, as I hover over it, you will see it says WordPress Foundations 2025 and then just another WordPress site by blah, blah, blah. This is the tagline. Let's do that next. To change the tagline, go to the back end, Settings, General, Tagline. And here you describe very powerfully in a short sentence your site. Learn WordPress for total beginners. And save. Go to the front end, hover over the tab at the top, and you will see it says WordPress Foundation, should be Foundations 2025, Learn WordPress for total beginners. Let me just go change that foundation to Foundations, General, Foundations. Oop. Save. Go to the front end. There. Now it's nice. Click to the back end. One thing I want you to notice, suddenly this little red dot appeared. And it says, this is lodged under Dashboard Updates, and select Updates. And here it will tell you you have the latest version of WordPress. And then at the bottom, it says Update Translations. Once you switch to another language like I just did with South African English, you will occasionally get WordPress urging you to go and update the translation. You just do that. Don't worry too much about it. And you will see that little red dot appear. And whenever there's an update, it will appear. But also in the toolbar here at the very top, you see an update icon with a 1. And if you click on that, it's going to give you the same page. Select Update Translations, and all will be good and well again. We've set the site title. We've set the tagline for the site. And next we're going to set the site icon. Go to the front end. And we have these 3 tabs open. I have Taste WP with their little icon. Then I have WordPress just with a global icon. And Meta with their icon. So I want to change that little icon there to my logo, to my site icon. And that is what is called a site icon. You're also going to hear us use the word favicon. F-A-V icon, favicon. And this comes from the word favorite icon, in which your favorite toolbars, when you save them, this icon will be displayed. Select your name to go to the back end of WordPress. Select Settings and General, and the site icon appears here. Choose a site icon, and for this, you are going to create an image that is to a 1-to-1 ratio, like this one. Preferably a transparent background and saved as a PNG file, and even as big as 640 by 640 pixels. You can see this one is a little bit smaller at 512 at 512. For your tab at the top, this doesn't make a big difference. It's on some Apple devices, the bigger the image, the better, but you can get away with something as small as 64 by 64 pixels. I do recommend going a little bit bigger for it. The most important thing is make it a square, and then it will work well. I'll grab my favicon, my site icon, into my media library, and I'll select Set as Site Icon. It will show up here, and it will show you how it will display within the tab within the browser. Note that still at the top, it's showing this little world globe icon. I'll go to the bottom and select Save Changes, and the top will update. Save Changes, and there is my site icon. Now, when I click on the front end, I have my site title, I have my tagline, and my site icon. One more thing I will change in the settings is the time zone, and that's going to help a lot when you create posts to make sure that when you schedule a post, that it will publish in your time zone. Let's go to the back end, Settings, General, and look for Time Zone. And I am on UTC +2. That's it. That's how you change the time zone. And this is important when you create a post, but you don't want to publish it today. You maybe want to publish it next week, but at an exact time, 12 o'clock. If you don't update it at UTC +2, it's going to publish at 10 o'clock my time. I want it at 12. Or is it 2 o'clock? I'm not sure how that will work. But make sure the time zone you also update. Now, these settings I just showed you, like the site title, tagline, site icon, the time zone, all of them I usually do at the very beginning when I begin a new website, because you do it once. So I have this little list when I create a new website in WordPress. I come into WordPress, I change the site title, tagline, icon, site language, time zone. I change the permalinks. And then I know all of those things that I only need to do once, they are set. So you should also make a little list if you are intending to create more than one website. It will really help you to just not forget about them. Because trust me, if you've never created a site in WordPress, you will forget about them. And while I'm here, I actually see that WordPress says for the site icon is what you see in browser tabs, bookmark bars, and within the WordPress mobile apps. It should be square and at least 512 by 512 pixels. So interestingly enough, coincidentally, I created it at the right pixel dimension. I didn't even know that. Great. Something I learned today as well. When we work with WordPress, we use certain terminology all the time. And once I point this out to you, you're going to see how many professionals that are doing tutorials online make this same mistake all the time, but it is negligible. We don't care about it because it doesn't confuse us. And that is the word dashboard. When we are in WordPress and we look at the navigation sidebar on the left, at the very top, there is this option called dashboard. And when I click on this area here is the dashboard. This navigation sidebar is not the dashboard. The back end is not the dashboard. The back end is where you get everything. The dashboard, which you currently see here, is just one part of the WordPress back end. Why do I make a thing about it? Because we often talk about the dashboard as the WordPress backend. And check in the future when you check out tutorials of other educators, they will tell you go back to the dashboard and then they will go back to pages or posts or settings. That is not the dashboard. This is the dashboard. What is the dashboard all about? When you log into WordPress, every time you are greeted by the dashboard. And the dashboard is a sticky board where you can put things like this. You see, I'm dragging these things around. That gives you an overview of what is going on with your site and, things that you've done. Here is WordPress events and names, activity. Some people use this area all the time. I use it never. Really, I use it never. When you bring in a feature like analytics, and that's where you can see how many people visit your site, you will often have those numbers and figures here in the dashboard. Then it becomes super helpful. But at the very beginning, you are going to do very little with the dashboard. So don't let the dashboard, mislead you or distract you at all. It's just the page that WordPress is going to open up every time when you sign in. I showed you can drag these things around and you can put them in different columns. This area up here, welcome to WordPress, you can even dismiss it. Because I never work with it, I never even dismiss it. There is one option up here called Screen Options. And when I select that, it gives me this drop down. And these boxes that appear here, I can toggle them on and off. So if I don't want to see any of them, I can just toggle them off. But again, like I told you, they don't bother me. They don't do anything to my site. So I just ignore them. And this feature is here under Screen Options. Screen Options, make a mental note. Sometimes there are things in the screen options. This is something you'll almost never use, but then sometimes when you look for a feature, it is hidden here, it is added here, and then you will need to come back to the screen options. So remember this little lost brother up here. We don't talk about him much, but he's there waiting for us one day to come. Help? I've never used the help. There's documentation on dashboard, support forums, etc. Never used this. If you go to the top left and you click on this W, you get to this area, which is just about WordPress. This shows you the latest WordPress. It tells you about WordPress, who designed it, and get involved if you want to become a coder for them. And under that, you will have the documentation, learn WordPress, all of that. And if I click again on the dashboard, I'm back in the dashboard. So just remember this. Where is the dashboard? What does the dashboard do? It just shows you an overview of your site and you can pin some stuff here. If you're going to use that, you may not. And then you have that WordPress area there that shows you the latest installation and what is available. We are 2/3 through this module of foundations here at Websites for Beginners and reaching almost the 2-hour mark. And if you hear strange sounds, I have 2 dogs playing under the table and I try to get them to keep quiet, but they're in their playful mode this time of the morning. What I want you to do at this moment is just close your browser completely. And why? Is that you're definitely not going to sit and work through this the entire 2-3 hours of this tutorial. And at some point, you will need to come back and do the whole login process from start. And I just want you to practice that one time to see if you can do it. Because we are working with Taste WP, they make it so much easier to log in. Open your browser, go to Taste WP, login, and then select Dashboard. And this is the one we've created, WP Foundations 25. Go to Actions and select Go and log into site. And like I said earlier, when it loads WordPress on the first instance, every time you're going to get the dashboard. We started working on posts and soon we're going to talk about pages. Before that, go to our posts, all posts, and select any of these posts. I'll click on this one and we have a look at some of the other kinds of content that you can bring in. The other blocks you find up here, and you can see we have text blocks, media blocks, and many. And you're probably going to use some of these. YouTube embed some of them. A favorite that is used within post is a quote or a pull quote, and that's just to highlight certain text. I'll scroll down in this one, and then over here I want to bring some text that stands out, and I'll find this quote here under text. I'll click hold and drag it, and I'll drop it here, and then I'll just select some text that I can highlight. You can bring in your own text or type a new text, and then I'll select this quote block and I'll paste it there, Control V, and you can see it looks a little bit different. Click on it again and note that we have this detached little icon here that shows us that this block here is actually a paragraph block, but that it is contained within another block, the parent block, which is a quote block. And if you want to make changes to the quote block, you select this one, and now you are within the quote block. And you will see here in the settings on the right, you have different settings. You have padding, margins, things we will look at in the core module. That is a quote. What is this again? A quote. This is quote. Yes, it's a quote block. I like to use this. One that is even more prominent, that stands out bigger, is called the pull quote. So let's scroll down. We go here and over under text in the block panel. Here is the pull quote. I'll click hold and drop it here. And this is pretty big. So the idea with the pull quote is not only that you are bringing in text, you're also bringing in the name of the person who said it. So I can say life is tough, so you gotta be tougher. And life is tough. So, and the wise words of Turbo B. And this is what a pull quote does. And just like with any other block, you can move it around. If you want to move it around, it will jump between the blocks, so you can drag it. Or you can go to the list view in the toolbar, and you can drag it from here to the place where you want that block to go. We brought in images earlier, but you can do something more with images, and that is with a gallery. Let's go to our blocks, click here on the plus, and then media, and the second one next to image is a gallery. I'll click, hold, and drag the gallery block and drop it here, and then it will say upload or media library. By now, you can figure out that we can probably just drop the images here from our folder. I'll go to these 4 random images that I've created. Or is it 5? 5. And I'll select all 5 of them, click, hold, and drag them and drop them. And it creates a gallery for me. And galleries, these are blocks that you'll be using all the time. Again, if you look at the toolbar, you will note that we have image, and next to it, we have the gallery container block. If I select this image, then I'm working with the settings for this image. So we can have alternative text here in the settings or change the resolution. Or you can change, for example, the filter if you want to just change the filter for this one. Let's go to the next one, click on that, change that also. You can create this funky looking gallery. But then if you want to work with the entire gallery, you select the parent. And now we are working with these images. And on the side, here in the settings, you'll have this option, crop images to fit. If I decheck that, you will see now the images come in by the original aspect ratio. This is not a good gallery. So leave this option, crop images to fit on, and you can create this nice gallery. And you can, again, go up and place it around the site wherever you want it. And then if you go to list view, you'll find the gallery here. And if you open it up, you'll see all the images appear here. And I believe you can even sort the images by dragging them here in the list view. Nice way to order them and bring in a little bit of extra to your site. Let's view it on the front end, save the page, go to preview. Here's our gallery, and it all looks nice. Very simple, very straightforward. I do like that for a website, we'll bring in the bling at a later point. So far, we've worked with everything in just one column, apart from this gallery that created these additional columns for us. For most designs, though, we often place things in columns. We don't just have everything from top to bottom. We sometimes have two columns. Scroll to the bottom and let's do that. Go to the blocks and you add blocks, and then you'll find your blocks and scroll to design. They call this design, and you'll see there are a number here from grid, group, columns, row, stack, the works. I refer to these blocks, these elements, as containers and layout containers. What they do is they don't bring in content. They don't bring in paragraph. They don't bring in text, but they bring in the structure in which you can put those blocks. I'll hold the columns block and drag it onto the page at the very bottom. And now it presents me with an option. How many columns do I want, and how do I want them distributed? Do I want 2 columns at 50-50? Or do I want 2 columns, 1/3 and 2/3? And you can see I have a few more options. You can also select skip. We're keeping it simple, so I'm going to go with a 50-50. And once I do that, things can get a little bit challenging here. But once you get behind it, it's okay. What is important here is that whole thing I had talked about, the child and the parent. You can see here we have a column selected, but next to it is a disconnected parent. And this is actually the columns block. Select that, and now you can see, we can clearly see the 2 columns there. What we can do is we can put a heading in the left column, and we can put some paragraph text in the right. Let's do that first. I'll go to the top. In my block panel, I'll look for heading, click hold, and I'll drop it here. And you can see the column kind of disappears. And once I drop it, it's in that column. How do I know? And now things get interesting. Look at the toolbar. I'm working here with my heading. It is within a column. Select the column. But now I see the column is within the parent columns. And now when I select the parent, you can see the heading is on the left and the right column is still empty. So I'll bring in paragraph text there, click hold and drag the paragraph block and drop it. Let's type some text. This is a paragraph area, and click on the heading and say this is a heading. And because it's longer than the column, it breaks into a second line. But you can stack blocks also on top of each other. So if I go to the paragraph on the right, I can bring in more stuff in this column. I don't only need to have this here. Let's say I want to make all of this text that's over here and put it in the paragraph. I click hold here on the drag icon and I drop it below. I can do the same with this heading. Click on the heading and drag it to the left. And now that I brought this in, I can delete this heading, click, options, and delete. I can add an image under this heading. Let's do that. Grab an image from your block library and drop it there. And I'll go to the media library and I'll just grab one of these images and I create my columns. And this is how we create structure across a page. You're going to use columns quite a lot. I used to overuse it. I use the word overuse because lately I find actually just using one column like this is much better for people to read, and it's much better when people are accessing your website on a mobile device. And that brings us to one of the biggest words in website building in the last 5+ years. And that is the word responsiveness. Let's talk about that next. This is a word you have to learn. Responsiveness or responsive design. What this word means is that when you view this website on your desktop, your PC, and somebody else views it on their iPad, and another person views it on their cell phone, that the website will look good on all those devices. And there's a challenge. Some things that look good on a desktop just don't look good on a mobile device. What the developers in the world of website making did a couple of years ago is they brought in this idea of responsiveness. And that means I can change how my stuff looks from a desktop to a mobile device. And where this often happens is with columns. Within the WordPress editor, we have responsive design. To the toolbar at the top, next to the preview, there's an option called View. Select, and we have three options: desktop, tablet, and mobile. Select tablet, and you see the whole shift with the canvas happening. It is simulating how this will look on a tablet. If I scroll to the top, you don't really see a difference. This is exactly how we created it. But you may have already noticed when we came to the columns, something happened. Select desktop again, and note that these two columns are next to each other. Select tablet, and the columns move under each other. We call this stacked. They are stacked on top of each other. When I go to mobile, you're going to see it remains stacked. This is responsive design. This is what responsiveness is. WordPress decided that when we are working with columns, it is better to stack those columns when we go to a tablet and a mobile. Because if we don't, things are going to be extremely cramped, and it's going to be very difficult for people visiting your site to see what is actually going on there. And this is a very basic introduction to responsiveness. In this Foundations module, I'm not going to go deeper into this because there's a very important reason. WordPress, the vanilla WordPress, which we are focusing on in Foundations, suck at responsiveness. It's really bad. You saw what it did here, right? It gave me this stack. And on tablet, it also stacked. But I don't want it stacked on tablet. I still wanted two columns, and I think there is still enough space that I can have two nice columns. Clicking on the columns and going to the parent columns, I only have this option to stack on mobile. See this feature here? Click on Stack on Mobile. Now, I have unstacked it. So if I go to tablet, it keeps nicely for me two columns. If I go to mobile, it does the same. And I want it on tablet, still two columns, but I want it stacked on mobile. Click on Stack on Mobile again, and you see it is stacked. So there is no in-between for me to have specific control on the tablet. And this is just one of the many areas in which WordPress, the default installation, fails at responsiveness. And it fails significantly. Because this is such an important feature, so many people check websites on mobile devices, and it doesn't give you that precise control. Let's just go through this again. Let's go to desktop, click anywhere here, make sure then you go to the toolbar, select the column, but you want to select the parent. So you select one more and you go to the parent. And note the settings on the right, the option Stack on Mobile, and it's on by default. WordPress considers a tablet device also mobile. So the moment I go to tablet, it will stack on top of each other. If I untoggle this, it's a column again. When I go to mobile, it looks not good at all. So I need to leave it on as stack. But in the core module, I'm going to show you all the control in the world with add-ons that we can make this look proper and take all that control that you want. For now, take note of responsiveness and how important it is, and that WordPress, at its foundation, lacks proper responsiveness control. I want to end our posts here. We did a lot with posts. I saved this post, and now, here in the top left corner, previously it was the WordPress icon, but now it's my site icon that appears here. I'll click on it. Here are my posts. Let's just recap and marvel at the amazing posts we've created with Meta AI or whatever AI you are using. We've created these posts, 3 posts. We've given them categories. We've given them tags. We've also added featured images and an excerpt. And when you click on the front end of this website, you're going to get your posts here. And then when you click on any of them, you go to a single post, a specific post, and you can read it. We created this with these blocks within the WordPress/Gutenberg editor, and we've added images. We even have a pull quote here and a normal quote. We have lists. And we've learned that certain blocks can be grouped within bigger blocks. We call them parent blocks. And this helps you to create nice layouts. And that there are other blocks like this, columns, that you can create structure on your page. These are all posts. When we look at this website, this is what we are going to be aiming for. And we can do it. Absolutely. I'm going to show you how you can create a post page, a blog post page like this. Here are the posts. There are categories. Here you have data, the date, and then you have posts here on the side. This is awesome. But most websites have these other pages like an About Us page. And look, this is very different. This doesn't include a post that you can click on. This contains more design. This contains other features. It's not an article that people read. And this is what we assume websites are all about. So we go back to the very, very beginning where I said, remember, WordPress started as a blogging tool. And that's why posts and blogs are such a big feature of it. And then some smart people figured out, hey, we can create pages with it. And then WordPress really took off. So the focus for the majority of people is to create pages. Pages like a homepage, About Us, Services, and Contact Us page. And let's see how we do that with WordPress. I'll close this demo. And this is where we were. Let's go to the back end. And my question to you is, where do you think we can create a home page? If you paid attention, navigation sidebar on the left, there is an area called Pages. Select. What are these two pages? Privacy policy and sample page. Where do they come from? They come with the compliments of WordPress. Every time you create a new WordPress installation, these two pages are created by default. You've not seen them. They are not being displayed anywhere, but they are here. The sample page is an idea of how a page can look. We don't want to do that. And the privacy policy is this thing that we have all over the internet saying you are not using people's data, etc., etc. But we are doing education here. We don't care about this page at this moment either. So we delete them. When you have multiple items like these two pages that you want to delete, you can go ahead and click on bin and bin. But once it is multiple, you do multiple selection. You can check, or you just go to the top and check them all. Then under bulk actions, go to move to bin, which is trash, and apply. Once you've done that, I'll go to the bin and I'll empty the bin because I don't want to see them no more. And now we have no pages. Most sites start with a homepage. If you are designing a website for your coffee shop or your butchery or your gardening services, all of that will start with a homepage. That's where we will start. We'll click on Add New Page. You tell me, but JP, this looks just like the posts. Yeah, it looks just like the posts, but it isn't a post. This is a page. For all intents and purposes, what you're going to do in how you design and bring content onto this page is exactly the same. How the blocks work, how the settings work, exactly the same. But it doesn't see it as a post, which means those archive pages, the tags and the categories that we looked earlier, it will not add this page to those archive pages. WordPress is going to allow you to put this page into the menus, which we will do in Module 2. I'll show you all of that in Module 2. But for now, we want to create a home page. So we're going to call this page Home. Yes, I didn't see that coming. Let's publish the page, and like before, it's going to ask us to publish it a second time, and then you can view the page. I'm not too interested in viewing it at that point, so I'll just close this panel and we have a look at what we've got here. As with posts, there is an option for featured image, and you should do this. If you don't put a featured image here, and you share this page to Facebook or someone shares it in WhatsApp, it's going to grab any image from your page, and it may not be the image that represents your website the best. So setting the featured image is very important. I'll grab any featured image here like this, and I'll set my featured image. And this is now the image that will appear whenever this page is shared. You're not going to see this appear anywhere on your site at all, but that is there. You will see there's no excerpt here because it's not a post, no need for an excerpt. Let's save it and then go and exit back to WordPress. In the top left, click on View Pages, and you will see the home page has been created here. Use this short link here to view it. I'll click and hold and drag up here to view it on the front end. And you can see the featured image appears there, which is what we don't want, but currently it appears there. And there's nothing else in terms of content. Let's close out. Now bring in the content, and we click here on the page to go into the editor. We're going to kick it up a notch now. Let's bring in content for the top. One very popular thing to do on a home page is to have a big image with some text at the top. It's referred to as a hero section. Hero, the main man, the main thing, the big honcho standing up there. It's the image that grabs your attention and tells you what this site is all about. And then a little bit of text. It's really engaging. And WordPress has actually created a block that does that for you, and they call it cover. Go to the blocks panel by clicking on this plus, and we look for cover. Now, I don't see it here under text, but it's here under media. Because it includes an image, WordPress says it's a media block. This is the first one on the page. I'll just click on it, and it will drop the cover here. And now it asks me, which image do I want to use here? I can tell it to use the featured image, or I can use one from my media library, or bring in a new one. Let's go to the media library. Let's use this one. I'll select it, and it drops in, and you can see the girl appears there. This time there's a little bit of a white overlay, and then it says right title. So what I'll say, your mental health today. Because it's a mental health website, and this is my home page. This is what I want people to see. Take a look at the structure here. When I click on the text, I have paragraph. Next to that, I have the cover block parent. So I select cover block parent, and then we have a number of options here that we can work with. Fixed background, repeated background. Not going to look at these things now. Note this little plus here. And this allows you to bring in another block within the cover. So if I wanted to add a little subtitle here, a little tagline, I click on it and I'll select paragraph and I'll say, your best today. It's all the way to the left. Select it by just clicking on it, and then in the context toolbar, go to Align Text Center. Click on the image, and this will give you the parent container. And I want to change this background overlay that's currently white and make it a little bit more whiter so we can see the text better. Where do we find that? So we look to the settings on the right. We have settings here, and next to it, we have styles. This is a common way of grouping things. The moment you work with color or typography, to call it a style. Select style, and you will see here we have overlay. Click on the overlay, and it gives us this gray overlay. I'm going to select this color here, white. And the moment I do that, the whole image goes a little bit whiter. Below it, there is an option for overlay opacity. Drag this all the way to the right, and you see it's now completely white, opaque. It's 100%. I'll bring it down to 80%. I have that there. Let's make it 70%. I see my text better, and the image still pops through, but I can see better because there's more contrast. Let's save and preview. Here is the featured image, which I don't like, but anyway. And then we move down, and now I feel a little bit weird because this is not what I anticipated. I anticipated this image to stretch across my entire screen. Let's fix that. Hop back into the back end. Let's go back to the front. All the way from left to right on my screen is my screen, and that is your screen as well. And screens are different. And that's why we have these white bars on the left and the right. That is no man's land. No content goes there. Because for some screens, they are bigger and others are smaller. The content, the maximum content, is usually between the header. You can see we have this WordPress Foundations 2025 and this link for home. And this image here is a good example of the content width. And the content width is set by WordPress, and it ranges between 1,100 pixels to 1,200 pixels. Some may even make it bigger. Some are very specific. They make it 1,140 pixels or 1,170 pixels. This is the standard that people put this content width on. But you can see this content width is much smaller. This is around 700 and something, up to 900. We want our content width to look like this, but we want the image to fill the entire screen. How can we do that? Now we go into WordPress. What we need to do is click on the parent container. Select this container and go to the toolbar where you see the option for align. Select it, and there are a few options here. The first one I want you to choose is full width. And when you have full width, it's going to spread everything all the way from the left to the right. Go back to that option, align, and choose wide width. And now you will see that this width is similar to this image. And it even tells us that wide width is set to 1,200 pixels wide. And some of you may say, I don't want to learn about pixels. Sorry, you need a little bit, okay? Otherwise, your website won't look good. You need to understand what is wide, what is smaller, where these settings come from. But again, in the next module, I'm going to show you how to take full control over that and make it easier. And you can see default is 650 pixels. That is really small for a website. Let's go to wide width. This is what we want to work with. But for this one, we want it full width. Her face is gone now. Can we fix that? I think we can. Go to the settings on the right, choose settings, scroll down, and where you see the image, you will see here left 50%, top 50%. And this tells you where to focus. There's a circle actually in the middle. Currently, when this image loads in this container, it's going to focus on the center. Click and drag the circle and put it on her face. Now you can ensure that whenever this page loads, her beautiful smile and that yummy strawberry will appear in the image. That's what it's about. And you can see the left has updated to 46% of the left, and the top, it's almost close to the top. If you put all the way to the top, it's 0. But I'll put it like so. Now, save. Hop to the front end, reload this page, and this is what we've created. This is a very common hero section. Don't care about this image at the top. We'll fix all of that in the future. This kind of wide width is important that you understand how to set this width, because that 650 pixels that we have here in the back end for this is way too tiny, especially for a home page. It's very good for blogging. Yeah, we do like it for blogging, but we don't like it for the other pages. So let's put it back on full width. Let's bring in another block below this, just so we can see how the page will work. Bring in a heading, drop the heading below it, call it main heading. But now you will know that this is set. Go to the settings to maximum width of 650 pixels. We don't want this on full width. We want it on the wide width. So select that, and now we start building out this page. Let's do the same for the paragraph. We bring in paragraph, and I'll grab some text here, just so we can work with that. Copy, paste the text, and we do the same. Or can we? What's going on here? This paragraph element doesn't allow me to make it happen. I don't have control. How can I make sure this is the same width as this main heading? To do that, I'm going to put it inside a container, and I'm going to use the columns for that. Scroll down to design, bring in the columns, and I'll drop it here under main heading, and I'll select one column. Go to the paragraph, click on it, grab the handle and drag it into the column. Now it's inside the column. Select the column and select the main column. Go to the align option and make it wide width. Did you follow with that? Let's do one more. And now, because I am inside a column, I can bring in everything else inside the column and it will adhere to it. So if I bring in another paragraph and I drag it inside the column, it's already set to the width of the column. I can bring in that text over here, copy and paste, and it will take the width of the column. So if you run into this issue where the paragraph cannot stretch or shrink, you just put it inside a column and you work it out like this. Let's save the page and you can go and view it again on the front end to see how it will look. Back to WordPress, and now we talk about pattern. Interesting concept, patterns. And patterns is a pre-made block. WordPress came up with this ridiculous word they call a pattern. The first time I heard of a pattern, I expected a pattern. I didn't expect a block. But anyway, this is the word and they're sticking with it now for a few years. So we are stuck with this terrible naming called patterns. Go to the block panel on the left, select patterns. And now you will see we have a load of categories here that we can choose from. And I want to bring an about section. So if I click on about, it shows me this little layout. It's a pre-made block layout already made. And I can use this. Select it, click on it, and it's going to drop it at the bottom of the page. I can click on it and I can begin to edit. But there's something strange going on here. I cannot edit. I don't see the inspector. What has happened here? What has happened is that it's giving us this bird's eye view here in the top. It's zoomed in so we can see how the pattern will look on this page. To get out of this, go to the top and uncheck zoom out and you go back to your page. And now you can start editing. If you don't see the settings on the right, select this little panel for the settings and your settings are back. What do we have here? We brought in this pattern, this pre-made block that has been created for us before the time. All I need to do is go and change out the text, make this my own, change out the paragraph here, change out the paragraph for this button, my button, and even change out the image. I can click on the image, select replace, open media library, and select the image that I want to bring in. And like that, I took that little template there and I made it my own. Let's bring in one more pattern. This time, let's do a call to action. Let's talk about a call to action. This is a word or a CTA, call to action. You're going to hear all the time in website making. A call to action is encourage people to do something. And that usually means for them to click on something, to subscribe, to go to another page, to buy something. And many design features go into creating call to actions. You can see we have here under patterns also call to action select, and we have a number of call to actions here. There's one called schedule a visit. I'll click and hold this time and I'll drag it and I'll drop it here at the bottom. And it's simple as that. From here, I can make changes again. Let me just open the inspector on the right and I'll close this box here. And we have, what is this? This is a paragraph, you can see. This is a heading, and this one is a button. And all of this is grouped inside what is called a group element, a group block that's similar to a column. Save the page, and let's go preview it on the front. Featured image, here we have our white, and we have this, we have that. This was all done with that pre-made block that we brought in, the pattern, and then we have a call to action pattern here at the bottom. This is our homepage. Okay, it's a really bad homepage. In the next module, we're going to create really cool web pages, and you're going to learn about how to add links and make all of that magic happen. At this moment, like we said a few times, we're getting to the foundations of WordPress, and we're almost done. But there's a very important foundation that is going to rock your world the first time you get into WordPress that you will not understand. And it's one of those things that you have to do at the very beginning. Once you've done that, everything will make sense again. Let me confuse you first. Close the tabs that are currently open. And this is where we created the home page. What is this one? Home page, right? Exit to the backend, go to the top left and select View Pages. We're in the backend. Let's go view our site on the front end. Go to the top left, click on the name, and it opens the front end. Where's my home page? Up here is a link that says home. Okay, so I click on it. Okay, here's my home page. And what you see up here, this is my URL, my website address. Copy the home page, the URL in front, and copy this and open a new incognito window. Now, incognito window, you go here to the dots and select new incognito window. And this is going to open a new browser that's not logged into WordPress. And paste your URL. Click enter. And it doesn't give me my home page. It keeps giving me the blog posts archive page. This is not what I want. I want a home page to display. The reason it's not displaying the home page is because WordPress has no idea that you even have a home page. That's not how WordPress works. WordPress focuses on putting blogs first. So we have to make a change and we have to go instruct WordPress. This page I've created called home page. This is the page I want people to see when they come to my website. Let's close the incognito window. We are in WordPress. Go to the back end by clicking in the top left. And we do this by going to settings and select reading. This is probably the thing that confused me the most ever when I started in WordPress. And don't try and make sense out of the word reading or all the other mumbo jumbo that you're going to see. Just do this way. Settings, reading, select. And then it says here at the top, your home page displays what? And currently it is set to display your latest posts. So every time somebody types in your website address, it's going to see your latest posts. You want to make it see your home page. That home page is called a static page. There's that word, static page. Select this, and then you go to home page, and from the drop down, you select home. Save your changes, and now go to your front end, and now it will display your home page. But where do I get my blog posts now? So we solved one problem. We created another problem. The blog archive page has disappeared, and now people cannot access my blog posts. And that's the second thing you have to do. You have to create a page that's empty, completely empty, which WordPress will use as your blog post. Let's go to the back end. Go to Pages, select it, and click on Add New Page. And you can call this page blog, news, whatever. Often I just call it news because this is my news page. But if you truly have a blog, you can call it blog. So let's stick to blog. Just type blog, publish, publish again. You can close this panel, set a featured image if you want to. And now you're done. You're not going to touch this page again. This is a placeholder page. And this allows WordPress to say, this blog page, this is where I will display all your blogs for you. But as I mentioned to you earlier, you have no control over that. WordPress takes the wheel and it will decide how it will look. And then in the next module, I will show you how you can improve on that. Go back into WordPress, view pages, go again to settings, select reading, and then your home page displays your posts page. From the drop-down, now you select this new page you've created, blog. So you have two pages. For your home page, it will display the home page, right? And for your blog page, it will display that empty container page. Let's click on Save Changes. Go view it on the front end and note that here in the header at the top, we have now two links, one for the home and one for the blog. This we're going to upgrade significantly by bringing in header functions with a great theme in Module 2. So you have full control over this and how this will look. These items are navigation items. Homepage will take you to the homepage, and blog page will take you to the blog pages. Just note again, this is the site. This is the page that will appear when somebody comes to your site. So let's just grab this URL again here at the very top, copy it, and open an incognito page and paste it and enter. And we get the home page. Thank you very much. And then we click on blog. And there is the blog archive page. Like before, when we created this page, it was empty. We didn't create this. Every time you add a new post, it will appear on this page. So this page is constantly updating according to the new posts you add. This kind of page that can update based on information and data that you add, like a new post, it will appear here. These pages are referred to as dynamic pages. They don't just stay there forever and ever. They are dynamic. And this is what post pages do. Next time I add a new post, all of these posts will move and the new post will appear here. I don't have to do a thing. It's dynamic. If I go to the home page, I created this, and this is set in stone. Unless I go back into WordPress and I make changes in the backend, this content will not change. It is static. That's why we refer to this kind of page as a static page. This gives us the big difference between posts and pages. I'll close this. Let's go to the back end. Here are the posts. They are dynamic. The content will update, and our category pages and our tags pages and our blog post page will all update whenever we add a new post. But our pages page, or pages, they are static. We bring in information and they display statically. They don't update, they don't change. Here is the good news. We are done. We are done with this foundations module. Here is the bad news. It's really foundations level. Even as I'm sitting here, I showed you something on the front end. I showed you these links, and I showed you this. I showed you this image, and there's a title. No one likes a website like this. We want to have control. I want my home over here. I want my blog link over there. I want the logo here. I don't want this featured image, and I don't want the page title. I want the page to start here. WordPress kind of gives you the control in the default installation to take control over that. It is called a full site editor. It's something they developed a few years ago, and they brought it in to replace what I refer to as the legacy model. There's a problem. The legacy model is still better. As simple as that. The full site editor didn't make it easier. It made it in a way more complex. And it's actually a little bit tricky to go in there and hunt it, especially if you're a beginner. It is not the best place to start. So the WordPress defaults, they are not good. That's what Module 2 is all going to be about. How can we update and supercharge what we have here to make it look like those professional websites I had shown you earlier? That is done by third-party integration, and everyone does that. No one uses what I just showed you. Not one single person, not even the WordPress creators themselves. I'm not even going to waste your time or my time on explaining how the full site editor works within WordPress. We're going to tackle themes, which is what the full site editor kind of is all about in the next module. I'm not going to touch on it here because I just don't use the full site editor. The majority of the WordPress users out there do not use the full site editor. And even though there were interest in the full site editor, often just called an FSE, from the third-party developers for a while, they found out that people are not interested in it, and everyone is back to focusing on legacy ways of doing it. I use the word legacy. It sounds like it's archaic, it's out of date. Nope, not at all. And until WordPress can create something that is really easy to work with and intuitive, let's stick to this word, intuitive, the full site editor will not take off strongly. That is my opinion. I know many others agree with me. If you disagree, good for you. Go and learn how to do the full site editor. I think it's much more work, far more complicated, and there isn't much support for it outside of the WordPress arena. There are legacy themes that are far better than the FSEs currently available. Oh, I've used a lot of lingo. Did I confuse you? We'll clear all of that up in Module 2. So let me quickly explain to you what Module 2 is about. And for that, I'll just open quickly a demo site. This site here was created with WordPress. It's an e-commerce site. You can see that. We have a shop here. We have single pages. We also have a blog section, news section. But look at this blog section. Unlike anything we did in this foundations. If I click on this single post and we view the single post, look at this. This is not what we did in the foundations, but this is what we want. Look at this contact us page. Beautiful, with a form and a map. And this frequently asked questions with this accordion that you can open. The control for color over the background. This header at the top. Look at this stunning header with the logo, a search area. And there's even this top bar at the top with some other links, social media links. We scroll to the bottom. We have this footer here. What an outstanding website. This was all done with WordPress. But more. Module 2, the core module, is where we elevate everything we just did. The bottom line is that WordPress by itself sucks. WordPress by itself can never give you this kind of website. And we have other tools, apps, plugins that we add to WordPress to create these kind of websites. And we are going to use free ones so that you can follow along and you can practice by yourself. You will be able to create great looking websites with the free stuff I'm going to show you. That brings us to the end of this foundations. Very different to all the previous tutorials I've done because we usually start with the second one, core, and call it basics. But I explained at the beginning that I found that when you start working with things like posts and categories and how posts work in terms of featured images and excerpts, people get a little bit confused because now it feels very alien. You just showed them all these other cool stuff and now you go back to the posts, but the posts are still foundational. And that's why this foundation course gave you everything you need to understand about the back end of WordPress, how to set it up, how to make your site title correct, how to change out the settings, how to make sure that your homepage is displayed and not your blog archive page, and that you also understand how media works. And I showed you how to work with images. And on top of that, I threw in the AI because AI is becoming very important. And yes, it can create entire websites for you. It can create all the content. But when you are creating your own content, the AI can help you create better content by making sure your grammar and your syntax is correct and giving you ideas where it will take you days to come up with maybe a few good ideas. The AI can generate those ideas for you in no time. And many times they're going to give you ideas you haven't even thought of. End of foundations. Great if you came all the way to this end. Definitely, I give you a like if you finished the video all the way to here. Remember to visit us at w4b.io. That's Websites for Beginners address. And thank you for your time. From me, JP, I'll see you in Module 2, WordPress Core.